And we're back, Rivals Fight Night. Had a little dance-off in the background. Now we're ready to party. It's Avast, it's ZP, and it's a whole lot of fun. The best teams in North America fighting for a chance to play against the reigning champs here on Fight Night. 100 Thieves, we're already into it. Boom Crew, Shikigami, ZP, Vibrato, doing work on that Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it was just like I was talking about in the intro of Avast before, all production PCs just blew up at the same time, is that Vibrato definitely one to look out for here for Boom Crew. And the interesting thing here, too, the comp that they've come out with here on this first map, decided, you know what, we're going to run with the Storm, forget the Rocket comps instead, do something a little bit more free-flowing, at least on the first stage.
And they're going Groot to Groot. Little Groot to Groot action, as you called out there in the beginning. And I think overall, like that's something to watch for Boom Crew. They've been around for a while. They're extremely aggressive. They're not afraid to play a little unconventionally with that rocket, but they're not doing it right now. Right now, ult's being traded, no one going down.
Yeah, Meteor M coming in from Lagva there early on. No one dying just yet, but Monster able again to scatter into the back. 6-on-5, now 6-on-4 for Boom Crew. So again, Shikigami trying to get in, getting repelled, and Madian says, you know what, maybe we can make something out of this. Does the Galactic Legend, picks up 2, and Shikigami Avast, not necessarily out of this fight yet, as Madian really sets things up.
Man, still have ults here for Boom Crew to stay. This is staying on the point. The Omega Hurricane comes out, making sure to just get more out of the strategy. Try to get some more picks here. They're just going to force the invisible boundary. This is great for Boom Crew considering they already have control. They're forcing more ults here out of the strategist, out of Shikigami.
Now Shikigami right now, they're trying to make something off the hero ult from Madian, but Boom Crew being able to stabilize just a bit. Fraud not being able to brought down just in the moment for now. Focusing on damage onto the group. Being healed up all the while. Both teams just changing a little bit of poke. Strangling Prison though, in from Monsters. Fall through going to be there. Forces out the fate of both worlds. So Shikigami all in on this fight. 90% right now for Boom Crew, and off the Luna ult, they're able to get 2 here, Vest.
Boom Crew, you could be really happy with this still. And that was a well-played setup from Boom Crew. They go for the Strangling Prison, trying to get that the pretty much that culling effect, get it down from the Kraken impact. But Shikigami, Scatter Genji makes sure to hit the bubbles, keeps everyone up, pretty much mitigates entirely the culling effect coming in from Boom Crew. But for Boom Crew, they're 98%. 98% here. So Shikigami, they're going to have to play really aggressively. You're going to have to use this route to split, to get value early. They need to get ults out of Boom Crew, and they need to build some more of their own. And that's what they need. That's really what they need.
That's really helpful. You get a pick in the neutral like that from Ricky, and you just look at the full retreat coming in from Boom Crew. Now for Boom Crew, it's just, okay, don't give up more staggers here and in the moment. Just back up a little bit and, recognize you still got a lot of progress to play with here. 30% only for Shikigami. This round has plenty of life left in it yet. But okay, when you lose Fraud like that early, that's real bad. And Shikigami really just taking advantage in the neutral now, Vast.
Right now, it's looking like the opposite of the crypto market. They lost the fraud. They lost the fraud, really. So overall, I think Boom Crew here having some struggles to get on out. They are building up to several different ults. They're about to have 5 ults on board here for Boom Crew. And this is the fight right here. This is the fight that determines this round ZP. There's going to be 5 ults versus 5 ults. Shikigami holding really aggressively. Boom Crew, they have a huge bank. If they invest a lot, they don't find one early. There it is. They need to get one through the culling effect.
We'll see if they can do that just now. Right now, no resets to be found. Galactic Legend, meanwhile, going to be used by Fraud. Looking for anything here on the side. Doesn't really have the best angle here just yet. Boom Crew, right now, moving on in. Vibrato, though, cracks it open, finds a Madian. Starts the first hit. Now can they get a little bit more? Scatter Genji, again, focused on down to Shikigami in hot retreat, buying a lot of time. But remember, if they lose this fight, they're still going to lose the round. And they're able to get 2 in the neutral right after that. Unbelievable from Shikigami. They retreat. They get a few pickoffs. And now Boom Crew might be down this first round.
That is exactly what you needed for Shikigami, because they make sure to get out the Strangling Prison late. Monster swapping over to the Strange, going to be going for the portal for them to touch. They do still have the Meteor in, which can give them a little bit of sustain, give them a chance to burst through these ults here for Shikigami. But Shikigami, all they have to do is wait. They have to wait for the right moment here, try to force the Meteor in. Wait, they get the flip. They gave the flip here.
They give up the flip. They're more focused on the fight. Meteor M going to be used by Lagva here early on. Is it going to connect? No. Shikigami still in a decent spot. Madian, Galactic Legend soon to be fading. Hasn't picked up anything here just yet. Both teams relatively dreading ultimates, but Krasmang finds Monster early. Shikigami now on the 6v5. Boom Crew getting forced back. They get Krasmang in turn, but a Madian on the cleanup and set backline. Both teams trading back and forth. Vibrato's still in it. Still could be the hero here. Kraken impact built up. I don't think there's going to be much restraint. Vibrato looking, waiting. Kraken impact good to go. Could seal the deal right now for Boom Crew. As you see Vibrato looking around. The Madian strikes on the Koodle and takes down Vibrato before the Kraken impact can even be used. That unbelievable from a Madian.
I mean, also the hold here from Shikigami strategist line. They hold on to both their strategists, so they have the meteor. This fight's going to continue to go on, but now Shikigami, they can make it back with strategist as long as they don't all go down to fraud. They can't all go down to fraud here. They have to survive. They have to stay alive long enough for Ricky or Dinks to make it back anything. And they're going to make it
now,
back.
keeping it alive for Boom Crew. Invisible Boundary going to be popped here for Shikigami. And they hold on here, Avast, at the very end. But that was a wild first round where Shikigami, found a way back in after what was a very tough start. You don't often see teams come back from a 90% deficit, but if you're going to do it, Avast, you got to do it in the way Shikigami did just there. You push up and you win some neutral fights.
Yeah, I mean, and overall, just a lot of discipline, I would say, from the back line there for Shikigami, for Dinks and Ricky, holding on to those ults, going down in the OT fight, and then making sure to bring themselves back to win it there in the end. That's risky. That's a very big risk. It's one of those moments where, as a strategist, you're like, okay, am I going to pop it here? Am I just going to commit? Do we win the fight? Do I need to save it for something later? So I think the hold there might have paid dividends for Shikigami, and overall looked a lot better as the round went on. Like you talked about, ZP, the neutral fight was really, really good for them. You look at the stats here, relatively even across the board. Yes, Shikigami obviously ahead in some of those stats, but definitely not a blowout across the board.
All right, second round. We'll see what Boom Crew has in store. A lot of people favoring Boom Crew coming on in because of their recent MRC performance, with Shikigami proven they still got it. Now, though, as we head into the next stage. Yeah.
They got that as well. But there is going to be the Fate of Both Worlds available for Dinks. So shouldn't be any immediate picks, just barring some misplays as Poke's going to come on out. We're just waiting for the first opener.
Who's going to drop the ult first? And it's going to be Dinks. Dinks just opens up Fate of Both Worlds. Boom Crew now likely to just try and retreat a little bit if they can. Still, you got Shikigami in hot pursuit, looking to see if they can get anything off of it. Galactic Legend now going to be used by Madian. In over the top. Boom Crew, though, able to handle it pretty well. Now they can turn things around with the Kraken Impact of their own. Fate of Both Worlds used. Vibrato, what do you got? Strangling Prison is going to be used. In with the Kraken Impact is Vibrato. Picks up one here so far. Going to the back, looking to do a little bit of tree chopping onto the Groot instead. Forced back is Shikigami. You see them come in with the Kraken Impact of their own. However, Days immediately just going to get crunched as Boom Crew keeps control.
Well played there from Murado. Just trying to use those cooldowns for the Winter Soldier to give himself the bonus health, stay alive as long as possible. And sure, they're going to go down late, but because of that combination there with the Strangling Prison for Monster, wins the fight a little bestly. As Boom Crew getting the early cap already 30%, holding on to the boundary, holding on to the meter rim. So they have a lot of options to mitigate some of the value coming out here from Kresmang. Shikigami, they need to make something happen. They need to try to find a pick, try to force a flank, because Boom Crew, they're in a really, really solid position here. They have plenty of ults to just mitigate this.
I do think they just opened with the Strangling Prison, but you can't when you die trying to set it up. Kresmang went in, couldn't find the right angle for the prison, instead just falls. And that completely set Shikigami back where, Vest, if they want to take this round, we might have to repeat history and see the comeback from 90% again.
I would love to see it, but typically history, despite the fact that just happened last round, it's very, very hard to get the retake when you're down this much ult percentage, so, and this cap percentage in general. So Shikigami, they really need something to happen here, because if it's expensive, it's not going to go their way.
Meteor M from Lagva into the invisible boundary. Nothing going to happen there. A Madian, Galactic Legend, now looking up and over, and that is going to fade. Shikigami right now looking for the Kraken Impact in from Days. Massive full cleanup, and Shikigami basically about on time his last round. Gonna get their first control at 85%. Can they do it again?
I mean, the problem here, though, is that, remember, I said it can't be too expensive in terms of the ult economy. That's 3 ults. 3 ults off the board, sure. They break it here, but Boom Crew about to have 3 of their own. And they have that huge amount of cap. They have a lot of time to work with here. So Shikigami, they need to look really good in the neutral again. Try to make these fights not super expensive. If there's a chance they can work through this cap time deficit that they have.
We'll see just how this one works out. Vibrato here, looking for a pull. Shikigami gonna need to be perfect here once again. Fraud kicking things off with the Galactic Legend. Gonna be answered in turn by the Meteor M. Meteor M used. A little bit of time left on the Galactic Legend. Fraud looking to the back line. Instead, Support L gonna be keeping people nice and healthy in turn. Dinks moving forward with the Fate of Both Worlds. Boom Crew, much the same. Monster, though, real close having Strangling Prison. It's gonna be Prison versus Prison, but Deus hits first. Gets the Luna in the back. Velocity gone. Shikigami up 1. Both teams trading out ults. This would be super beneficial for Shikigami. They somehow end out on a head. And Madian looks to be the finisher. Drops the Galactic Legend over the top. They lose Dinks in the process, but Days, the Kraken Impacts come out again and again.
Okay, they didn't make it cheap, but they made it really expensive and they equalized, and that's perfect for Shikigami because they stayed alive long enough to get those ults up. They traded perfectly. Days making sure to pop the Kraken Impact to set up Amadian to get those finishing limbs. And now Boom Crew are in trouble, ZP, here a little bit because another Strangling Prison about to be up Meteor not too far away. So Boom Crew have to make something happen here now. And ideally, you look to Fraud. Fraud's about to have the Galactic Legend. There's not a strategy alive for Shikigami. Ideally for them, they either get a pick early or they live long enough to potentially find something. So Fraud is going to be the threat here for Boom Crew.
Meanwhile, Madian not holding back at all, going into backline with Blast of Barrage. They lose Krasmang immediately, though. Fraud not having any of it. Now going to the back. Galactic Legend active. Looking for another pick to put this over the top for Boom Crew. They've taken out Scatter Genji. It's Shikigami down 2, now 3. And this may be ending with a bit of a whimper rather than a bang here, Avast. We'll see if Shikigami can contest again, or
TP's coming up.
Go next round.
Let's look for it. Here it is. TP's up. They do have the Meteor to try to keep himself up a little bit longer, but immediately taken down, exploded. Now, no strategy up left. Will Ricky get one? Ricky has to get a strategy, has to get the invisible weapon with any chance. No, I think it's over here, ZP, and it's just gonna be cleanup.
Yeah, I mean, the portal recontest, not the most ideal this time around when your Magneto just gets instantly dropped. But it's gonna bring us to a round 3 where so far, both teams looking incredibly close. I mean, I just wonder, does Shikigami have it in them to start off the round with a win? Because they're not doing themselves any favors right now, Vast, where it's just, okay, guys, bring it back from 90 every single time so far.
Being down the deficit, not ideal. And also, you know what's even worse than that, too, is that, I mean, we're coming into this first fight here with an ult deficit again. Another deficit for Shikigami. Boom Crew holding on to a lot of ults, 5 ults, except for Fraud, of course, who, once again, I called out at the end. Fraud's going to be the opener there. He's going to be one that breaks that point open there at the last fight, and he does. They didn't have the ult economy, they didn't have a pick, so they just made sure to set up Fraud, but the Galactic Legend gets tons of value using the shifts as well to mitigate the damage, to move around the map. So, Fraud playing the role excellently. Shikigami, they really want to win the first fight here, because when you play on domination in general, ZP, first fight is such a tempo decider for the rest of the map, for the rest of the round.
Also, can we just admire the courage to name yourself Fraud in an esports game? Just knowing, just knowing what's going to be said if you're ever on the losing end. I mean, people they're not going to be generous, is all I'm going to say. So you got to have respect in your ability if you're going to name yourself Fraud. But here we go. Boom Crew, Shikigami, heading on out. Final round here in our first map. Boom Crew working with a substantial ultimate advantage.
Okay, a little bit of a wonky wall pull there right off the bat, as Galactic Legends used earlier. A lot of ults usually can dunk. Oh!
Massive, absolutely massive combination from Boom Crew, where they do drain a lot of their ult reserve here, Vass. Like, it was not cheap. It was well paid for. It was a luxury purchase, but yeah. Yeah,
luxury purchase. I mean, sometimes you gotta flex the Balenci a little bit, right? Like, you gotta show up and be like, okay, it's all good. Like, we're gonna win the first fight. It's so important domination. Get a little dunk of our own there. Perfect use for Monster and Lagva just combining there. And Shikigami now, I mean, the thing is, because they lost the fight, they committed ults to their own, they're not even really at an ult advantage. So they're still coming in here, relatively equal ult bank, and Boom Crew can play really aggressively. They can feel confident. As the hook right there on the Days. Oh, it's perfect. So well played from Vibrato.
Yeah, you get the early hook, and you just see the almost comical, old school cartoon back up. It's like, immediately, everyone, leave, just get out. Not the start to the fight you wanted, but in the interim, you let Boom Crew build up their ults in turn. And what I was going to say before the hook here, Vass, is that I feel like a lot of the setup here, it does go to Krasmang for the Strangling Prison, if a good one can be landed, but you can't give up a hook while you're going for it.
And ideally, it's a hard job here for the group, in particular for the group player, because also at this whole time, Lagva's going to be saving bulwarks. He's going to be saving bubbles to try to mitigate the culling effect factor here, because ideally you're trying to set up Days with the Strangling Prison, maybe pop a Galactic Legend early to force a strategy ult. You see, there's the dance. Both Star-Lords doing a little bit of dancing above them. One use.
Galactic Legend in from Fraud early to start off the fight here for Boom Crew. Meanwhile, Deus comes on in. Kraken Impact gets reset number 1. Looking for more. The Meteor M to set the stage right after. It's a clean sweep coming in for Shikigami off the pack of the Bucky ult.
And that's exactly what they needed. It's what pressure on Krasmang there, where they saved it, they walked in, they go for the Strangling Prison to set up the Kraken Impact for Days. Ideally there, if you're Boom Crew, Lagva gets more bubbles off, saves you from the effect, saves you from getting hit initially, but doesn't happen. Meteor gets used. Now Shikigami, they're in a pretty decent spot, but still a lot of cap time for Boom Crew, so they need to continue to make these fights not too super expensive or get an early pick.
We're gonna have Galactic Legend use here. Madian again able to pierce the veil, find early picks, makes it 3 off the Galactic Legend. And just like that, that's the sort of economical fight you need to pull yourself back into it. And hey, I mean, for Shikigami, they're ahead of schedule here at Vast. They're used to coming back from 90%. This time it's only 77.
Working on not losing as fast in domination, boss, says Shikigami to the Shikigami owner. You know, we're gonna workshop that one. We're gonna workshop that one. But overall, Shikigami, I mean, that's exactly what they needed, right? They did a great job. It was very inexpensive, but Boom Crew also went down really quickly. They didn't commit any more cooldowns to stay alive with the Galactic Legend, so they still have a lot of ults coming in here. Still have an ult advantage.
Yeah, I mean, they open up with the boundary. Ricky's right now trying to buy time, waiting for dropping it themselves. Now they drop it, and still, everyone's still up right now for Shikigami. The Kraken Impact used by Vibrato on the other side, and
that's exactly what they need.
Not too bad. Yeah, I mean, it's really
that's actually perfect
on the support ults. Because now Stratus are going to be able to use Luna ult, and they might not even need to with the pick on the monster. This could be really clean right now for Shikigami, and it's going to bring us to our final fight.
Extremely well played from Crazebang and Ricky. Like, you just called that out, ZP. They hit a really good time on the invisible boundary. The culling effect goes in from Vibrato, but they hit the force physics. They have the walls up to deny any of those effects. Remember, because that 20% culling effect means that you hit the 20% HP immediate execution. So now Boom Crew has to make themselves back, have to walk back in, walk through the point against 4 ults for Shikigami. It's a really, really hard fight here for Boom Crew.
Yeah, and what's going to happen? Amadian's going to open the Galactic Legend, but the real threat is going to be the prison into Kraken Impact. Here we go. Everything on the board for both teams. And it's massive. Vast from Shikigami. The Meteor M with the Kraken Impact right after, completely eviscerating Boom Crew. This is an overtime. Shikigami playing for the first map win. Boom Crew taking on down, and it's Shikigami defying expectations, getting map 1, and maybe bankrupting some people on channel points, because for a lot of people, this was not expected as our opening here today.
That's why they call them the Boom Crew, because they boom your portfolio. It's over. Okay, but I think overall, Rivals, if there's anything that the Rivals Fight Night can show you, is that you could lose it all in an instant. Don't stop betting. No, never stop betting on the channel points. And really, I have to give a lot of credit to the front line. And really just overall the supportive elements of Shikigami. Yes, the Duelist, Amadian, yeah, I mean, Days, they looked really good. But that last round right there, Crazebang again, not only did they mitigate the value from that combo from Boom Crew, but then he sets it up for Scatter Genji in that following fight.
Amazing stuff. Big shout out to everyone behind the scenes. We had a lightning strike. We got the show back up and running, and we are already underway with our challengers match. 1-0 Shikigami after a very tight opener. ZP, now you're the Boom Crew. You had control during some of those rounds. You let them go towards the end of those rounds. You can't do it in game 2. Where do you go?
Where do you bring it right now? I mean, truthfully, I think with how well it started, I think you might just bring it right back over the domination. You go, okay, let's just not throw leads after we have them, because a lot of the opening was good for Boom Crew. They were able to set the pace in the neutral at the beginning, but every time they had Shikigami at death's door, they just weren't able to finish the job effectively here, Puckett. And to me, I don't know if it's nerves or experience or what, but it didn't seem like a lack of talent. It just seemed like the execution was a little bit lacking. And I think the number one thing you can do here is just run it back again. Get your confidence back.
Yeah, Vasta, I think you know how it is. We're all waiting for Europe to finish. Finally, you get called up to the broadcast. You and ZP were waiting in the wings. Players just need a little time to warm up, right? Now it's game time. Game 2 is for real. First one was just free.
I mean, that can definitely be a part of it. I'm giving Shikigami a lot of credit, though. I know they're the underdog. I really did like how they played in that map overall. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe like a Path and Yggdrasil potentially come out if you want to keep playing a lot of Groot. If Boom Crew feels really confident in playing Groot, that's a great Groot map. But it kind of just depends, because Shikigami looked really good on the mirror of the Groot themselves. So there kind of has to be maybe something unexpected thrown in the mix. And it could be the warm-up factor, could be the nerves factor, right? But we can't know. We can't know. So right now, if you're a Shikigami head, a Shiki head, like, this is your moment, okay? This is your moment to rise and to get the channel points.
Shiki heads rise up in the chat right now with a Vast. We are 2 games away from moving on to a championship match against 100 Thieves. Boom Crew looking to answer back. They'll be selecting our map in just a moment. And shout out to our producers on the highlight side. You already saw some slow motion whales. How about some slow motion whales? My man, Vibrato, the opening rounds. We even saw a storm in action. NA's getting weird early, ZP.
Yeah, I mean, NA seeing some different looks, and I mean, look, the storm was not fraudulent when it came out. Fraud came out, got a great opening, and yeah, they may have swapped up after, but the opening worked out. The problem that they Boom Crew kept dealing with, though, was a Median getting ridiculous value on the Star-Lord in the neutral at times. And then when Ultimate Economy did come into play, Krasmang was setting up Deus constantly with great prisons into impacts from the Bucky. And the overall alt economy execution for Shikigami, I think actually was a key difference here between the two teams.
Agreed. 100% agreed. I really loved how Shikigami played this, and like they played great across the board, but definitely a bit of an ult economy disadvantage at times comparatively for Boom Crew here, which is a team, like we talked about them a lot, how they've been around a while, and like, oh, we can't wait to see them. This is a team with the very mechanically gifted players. But you know, this is a very young scene. This is a scene that's continually evolving here for Marvel Rivals, and there's going to be teams that are getting better and better, almost exponentially every day. I mean, compare the start of any esport at its inception versus like a year, 2 years in, right? And we're dealing with like a very non-linear progression of these squads.
It all changes after tonight. Expect every team to go out and try and find themselves a Hulk main. The ban and protects are going to include a lot of Namors and Hulks, I have a feeling. Let's take a look, though, at the impact players in this matchup. I have a feeling it might come down to the Magnetos. Scatter Genji going up against Lagva. Who had the edge in the opening round? Was it easy to tell? I know we're watching 12 players at once, ZP.
You know, between the two, this felt like one of those rare cases where the Magnetos were almost, passengers of fate of what was going on with the overall economy of the game and particularly the duelist play, right? But, you know, at times, I would say more Scatter Genji, where you think about the ultimate execution, the Meteor M's coming out from Scatter Genji is just a little bit better, a little bit more well-timed, but it was also such a team effort at the same time that it's hard to be like, this Magneto versus this one. I feel like the Magnetos for once were just going, this is an interesting game that's going on here.
Yeah, pretty fun stuff. Catch a Ricky every once in a while, and Boom Crew is going to be happy. Let's jump into game number 2. We're going to the Spider Islands. This, of course, is going to be Boom Crew's selection, so it should be Shikigami up on the ban first, Avast.
Now, this is an interesting map, again, because it's another pretty strong group map if they choose to do that. You know, we've also seen a lot of, like, standard compositions. We've seen a lot of, like, Thing, Magneto. So there is a lot of opportunity to kind of change how you want to play here. I can't really lock into anything yet. I'm like, what are we likely going to see? Both these teams have played a variety of different comps throughout their time. So it leaves a lot of opportunity open. I think the most exciting part here is, was domination more so just like a tempo, right? Yeah. Like, was this something that they looked really good in the ult economy, and domination kind of really heavily prioritized the fact that, like, if you win very key fights, it's a lot easier to snowball comparatively some of the other game modes. So this is going to be kind of a test here for Shikigami of like, okay, are they domination merchants? Are they not? Are they, how well-rounded are they?
ZP, as we wrap up season 1, we have to reminisce on the greatest alt combos. What were your favorites that were frequenting your matchups?
You know, can I say it wasn't even a combo, but it was just the combination of Jeff's ult with the edge of the map that we saw in EU.
Gravity and Jeff.
Yes. I mean, the fact that got pulled off was good. But okay, Hello Band coming in, and
they're just saying no hit scan. Get it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the reason for this is just the fact that Boom Crew, even in the match versus 100 Thieves, right? They just don't want to run the Hella matchups whatsoever. I think for Shikigami, players like Amadian are a big threat, so I think they're just recognizing we don't want to go down that path.
I think it's a Star-Lord protect. Like, they really are trying to get a Star-Lord advantage from Boom Crew. I lied. All right, they're going Winter Soldier. I'll shut up. Go ahead, Avast.
I mean, it doesn't predict anything necessarily. Star-Lord could theoretically still be played even without the Adam Warlock. I mean, there's still Luna Snow on the field. Well, never mind. No Luna Snow, which means Namor is probably off the table. And with Namor off the table, that still means that Star-Lord's still potentially played, right? Even without the Adam Warlock. So it's kind of a question of, does Shikigami make an impact ban here? Is there something that's really going to define the meta? Because right now, you look at this, and in my mind's eye, it's like, okay, Magneto, Groot,
get rid of the
Thing.
Rocket?
Like, it's... Rocket could be fun. I mean, especially, you practice... I mean, Loki being gone, that screams to me a little bit Rocket. Loki gone, they have Luna gone, Adam's gone, that's triple strategist banned. And especially with, like, as we come into season 2, there's going to be all those Rocket changes with his ult, where he's, providing bonus health as well and reducing the overall damage bonus.
A real healer.
Boost. Like, yeah, a real healer there. So, I mean, this could be a good chance also to keep practicing your Rocket gameplay, as I fend off my cats. So hopefully they're not going to jump in my lap right now. But I think that this is going to be a Rocket moment.
We love our furry friends here on Rivals Fight Night. If you have an animal post it on Twitter. I dare you, at Rivals RFN. We're on Twitter. That's my way of like letting you know that we're on Twitter and you can follow us there so you can catch future broadcasts. For now, though, we jump into game number 2. Spider Islands. Can Boom Crew drop the hammer and tie things up? Let's jump in with Avast and ZP on the mic.
And, coming into this, I am curious to see what changes we get out of Boom Crew here, Avast, because, again, you think back to map 1, it felt like Boom Crew came in and, whether it be from the neutral play or just, raw mechanics, they looked better, but then when it came to experience and how to handle your advantage, oh man, Shikigami just completely took the game back away. But, thinking what they like playing, it's probably going to be Rocket all day long for Boom Crew here. Can't say it'll necessarily be the same for Shikigami, but I think for Boom Crew, they do love Buff and Vibrato.
They really do. I mean, if you're going to send the pet photos over, just send them, it's really Rivals Cat Night, perhaps, if anything. But Boom Crew here, pushing forward, continuing to use the aura here for Fraud on the Storm, trying to just make sure to get the most out of these really high ceilings, using the Aura of Thunder, the Aura of Tornado to move really quickly. There's a lot of poke going on.
It really helps in the neutral game, and also I just think this is a great opening area for Storm if you have a great Storm. I mean, the sight lines are fantastic, and I mean, it's just elementary here. Boom Crew gets a few early picks, moves forward, and before ultimates come into play, they are great. And on top of it, look at the outbuild from Vibrato, powered up by the Infinite Grit, coming in from Velocity. I mean, he's ready to explode on the next fight of Avast.
And interestingly enough, I mean, with the Cloak and Dagger of Shikigami not trying to match the Rocket Crew in their own, is immediately going to drop the Kraken Impact. I mean, this should just clean it up right here, barring something crazy.
I mean, you kill the Groot immediately, things just go from bad to worse. However, Fraud taken down. Strangling Prison can be used here by Monster. Boom Crew deciding to invest a little bit of their newly acquired currency to make this fight a little bit easier. Fraud cleaning up the skies, and I'll say this for Shikigami. They're buying time even in a losing fight right now, Vast. The convoy is not actually moving.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think Shikigami probably should have stopped investing. It's time to stop buying the dip and maybe hold a little bit of liquid, because the problem here with Shikigami is that they committed the Invisible Boundary late there as well from Ricky, so they don't have any strategy ults coming into this fight. So there's an Omega Hurricane. There's going to be, they also, I mean, Boom Crew has an Invisible Boundary of their own. So there's a lot of options here for Boom Crew, who's already in a very strong position to immediately get picks. So Shikigami's going to need something to happen here. Ideally, like a big Eye of Agamotto, maybe set up a Meteor M.
Well, they go on in. They start with the Strangling Prison. Eye of Agamotto still on deck. Boom Crew responding in turn with the Mega Hurricane and Invisible Boundary, looking to cool things down. Now Shikigami, the boundary is gone. Eye of Agamotto coming on in from Scattered Genji. Is Fall Through going to be there? They got one here so far. Dinks getting Medium with the BRB. Velocity, much the same on the Fraud. Both teams still in the fight, contesting to and fro. Scattered Genji right now, looking for a counterpart on the other end. Fraud was able to get down Krasmang. Big pick here from Boom Crew as they try and get this first point. Monster, though, dropping Strangling Prison, and that should secure it.
Shikigami, I mean, they're making use out of this triple Vanguard comp that they're running, so they have a big health pool. They're making sure to have the Agamotto keep the fight running as long as possible. The problem is they just didn't have the damage, right? They already had a disadvantage because they had to pop all their bubbles very early from Scattered Genji just to mitigate some of the Omega Hurricane. So Boom Crew using their ults really well. They have the tempo ult as well with the CYA up again for Velocity as they've swapped to Psylocke here, which I actually really like here for Fraud, because with the Psylocke, you can take the opportunity to just use this really, really long second point, this really open second point to try to find picks on the back line.
I think the swap to Psylocke is good here too, because the Storm Value does start going down, but Krasmang down, Vibrato making the most of this Rocket Raccoon team up. Now Krasmang is brought back on in, but you look at the momentum Boom Crew has right now. They're able to move forward, push Shikigami back, force retreat, set themselves up right now, Avast, for one fight into second.
And here's the issue still with Shikigami, is that this is the fight they really need to win, because like their ults are up. They have a relatively equivalent ult bank with Boom Crew. They lose here, they probably lose second, barring a great return, as Galactic Legend used early.
Super early Galactic Legend, but pays dividends. Velocity, first one down. No BRBs coming out of that one. Shikigami now at 6v5. Invisible Boundary burn from Boom Crew. They have a Dance of Butterfly, Strangled Prison in reserve. And they're going to pop it. The Dance of Butterfly comes on in. That takes down the opposing Rocket. But Shikigami still working with bit momentum. However, Vibrato able to shut down a Median into the backline. Still winnable fight for Boom Crew, especially with Monster back into the fray. You're going to see Boom Crew right now come on up and over.
Oh, no. Monster popping the Strengthened Prison, getting Force Physics, they're walled off, gets no value whatsoever, trying to catch those stragglers from Shikigami, and now Boom Crew in a really bad situation. Shikigami, they have good ults. A lot of the pressure is going to be on Vibrato here to maybe hit a huge Kraken Impact.
Meteor M coming out, lots of room to work with.
That won't happen.
Vibrato down, and the Groot right on after. Day's gonna clean up the rest. So that easy solidification there for Shikigami off the whiff on the Strangling Prison.
And I'm not totally sure if it was, because we were a little bit off camera there, if it was a total whip or if it was a force physics as well from Ricky, just making sure that Monster didn't get any value or even just a wall. But whatever they did, it worked massively there for Shikigami. And also pretty easy to remove the pressure from Vibrato, I guess, if you just get a limbed, if you just fall over. I mean, that removes a lot of the pressure from you to pop the ult well. As Boom Crew now coming on in, about to have 5 ults of their own. This needs to be the fight for them if they want to break open second point, because they do have a very strong ult bank.
Shikigami looking to stop Boom Crew here and now. Minute 30 left here on second. Meteor M going to be used here early by Lagva. Looking and looking. Madian, meanwhile, Galactic Legend has been burned. Visual Boundary in from Boom Crew now as they look to set the stage of battle. We'll be slowing things down with the Sia. Both teams have used Visual Boundary. Ricky getting lower and lower as Vibrato able to take him down. However, BRB brings him right back in. Vibrato, though, not done yet. Scatter Genji out. Boom Crew making an opening here. There's Fraud going in deep. Ends up getting punished.
The walls are perfect. The walls are perfect from Krasmeg. Playing the corner. Fraud goes for it. Krasmeg can't go down. He's bunkering up. He's unkillable. They can't get rid of this guy. The actual, I mean, it's just weeds. It's weeds here. Groot is weed cosplaying.
Unbelievable. Krasmeg able to keep Shikigami into the fight. Monster. Strangling Prison is built up, but Boom Crew right now still trying to kind of re-solidify. Strange Portal coming on out. Strangling Prison almost out here for Krasmeg. Sia is used. Shikigami looking to make their move right now. Counter Sia gonna be out here from Boom Crew, but now we're looking to Krasmeg. The wall's been great. The Prison coming on out, sets up Deus for the kill on the Vibrato.
It's so good.
And now they get even more Avast. It's massive.
I mean, Krasmeg putting on a Groot masterclass. And there's talked about a lot how this is why Groot is so good, especially in the right hands. There's going to be a late stagger pick here as well. Vibrato's going to go down late. They're not going to have Vibrato for the recontest. They're going to be swapping here, trying to touch last second for Boom Crew. But the problem is, like, who is going to Strange? Who's going to Strange? No one wants to swap. They're going putting Velocity here onto Jeff to try to speed bubble back because they don't want to lose their ults. It's not worth it. They're just losing it early.
The run into walls, literally and figuratively, courtesy of Krasmeg, just crushing in the neutral, landing great walls back and forth, setting up Shikigami for this hold right before second. And now you have to wonder if you're Boom Crew, you don't mind, playing Groot yourself, but if you lose this map, maybe you get rid of the Groot heading into map 3 because there has been a difference here, Avast.
The Shika Groot. The Shika Groot play has been really good. I mean, I talked about the impact of this Vanguard line for Shikigami and Krasmeg. They're putting on one of the best Groot plays we've seen, I think, in competitive Marvel Rivals overall. Like, there's definitely been a lot of high impact Groot players across the board in the EU, whether you go to like Nevix, whether you obviously see, look at Vinny on 100 Thieves. Like, Groot is a very high impact tank, or rather Vanguard, and this is clearly another moment where it shows because they just bunkered up, played the wall, built the death trap there where anyone came close, got hit with the Thorn Lash, that passive for Groot, just doing all that extra damage, getting the extra health as well from the Iron Bark. So, I mean, just have to give a lot of credit to Krasmeg.
Iron Bark aside, a quick update from the chat. It's a Vibrato, not Vibrato, unless CP is right.
Vibrato.
Like the last time we told him it wasn't Oblivione, and then it actually was Oblivione.
I'm going to go off chat here, but let me tell you.
Krasmeg, let us know in the chat. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna be honest, if I'm getting gaslit a second time, it's gonna be rough. I'm gonna question all reality, but one thing I'll say here, though, the real deep cut that we're getting from Chad here, Avast, someone just said the evil toaster. That's how far back we've gone. The evil toaster,
that is a very deep cut. The lore heads are eaten with that one for sure. Extremely deep cut. Shikigami getting their packs here from Dinks, just getting ready to set on up. And looks like they're playing, they're not doing the triple Vanguard, but instead putting Scatter Genji here onto the Strange pretty early, keeping the Groot. So they're going to have that shield. They're going to have some of that high ground control, the portal. So pretty interesting composition coming out for Shikigami. Very poke heavy, but also with
danger. Lagva's dead. Amadian able to win that in the neutral, and already 2 quick kills here for Shikigami, bringing it to Boom Crew on the first point. This is even a quicker wipeout than we saw Boom Crew to the Shikigami. Just a round to go.
Once again, I mean, both these teams utilizing the Storm here to get a lot of value from the Aura is, okay, they're dropping the portals in the spawn. Where are they going? What are they trying to do? Are they setting up behind, or were they trying to counter portal? It looks like they might have been trying to counter portal Lagva. That's exactly what they did. So Lagva was too afraid to drop a portal because they were making sure to save it there for Scatter Genji. So they're just going to swap. They're going to come on back. So a little bit of head games here as you see as the meta's evolved. Doctor Strange portal games, it's like breaking the Enigma code. Like everyone is playing extreme mind games with this.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're in Europe, where Finzi just locks teams down with the portal, no questions asked. But here we go. Boom Crew looking to test here at the apex of the first point. Monster, early Strangling Prison going to be used. Shikigami just able to back on out. Now a Mega Hurricane in from Madian into the backline. Forces out the invisible boundary in turn. Going to quiet things down just a little bit. Second invisible boundary going to go down here from Noodle. So look here, the Monster looking for an opening. Both teams still at full strength here so far. A Madian, though, able to get in with Daze. And is that going to be enough? The BRB gets Noodle back up, but it's very much in Shikigami's favor here, Vast, as they're looking to just cruise into the final part of point A.
And you see the impact there, again, from Daze. I mean, Daze on the Wolverine, removing Monster from the fight. I mean, took him away. Far, far away. Got him out of the invisible boundary. No wall value getting got. They made sure to save Krasmang's Strangling Prison there so they could pop with the CYA with Dinks just to burn through them post-strategy ults. So now Shikigami holding on to first. They still have the Eye of Agamotto. I mean, they have some options here because there's no strategy ults again for Boom Crew. No strategy ults, so they can get in there, pop a good Eye of Agamotto, just find one even. That breaks the whole fight open.
So if they're going to be able to get here, Shikigami right now, working through the side. Scatter Genji. Eye of Agamotto, good to go. Convoy moving up all the while. It's more on Boom Crew to engage right now, Vast here. Shikigami is more than okay to just sit back, poke, get a little bit of progress. But now Scatter Genji coming in over the top.
Oh, the port physics.
Agamotto right over the top. Is the fall through going to be? There it is. Lagva immediately going down. Shikigami, clean 6 on 5. Well, BRB makes a 6v6, but the momentum is on their side. They're moving on forward. They're trying to take down Monster. Monster has Strangling Prison in tow. Can drop in response, but they lose Fraud, Amadian, Galactic Legend to the side. Opens things up even more here for Shikigami. Boom Crew, they're going to drop the invisible boundary in turn here, Vest. Try and get low stabilization, but it's simply not happening.
And Krasmang getting another Strangling Prison, getting some value there. There should be some late value. Yes, they're going to be able to for Krasmang as well. And just so much value from Scatter Genji there, just forcing them to play a little bit passively, getting all those cooldowns early from the Eye of Agamotto, sets up the next round of ults here for Shikigami. Now, about to have the last stand for Daze. There is going to be something for Boom Crew, but they don't have to touch. They can't.
Yeah, I think that was less of a Charlie Niner and more of a you just couldn't touch sort of moment there. Unbelievable. Shikigami coming on in and going, was like, oh, you guys were down us at the beginning. You know, who's booming who?
I'm boomed. I'm boomed, honestly, just because I think this is an incredible Shikigami performance. And Boom Crew, I expect it to be competitive, but like it's not looking super competitive currently. It's looking like Shikigami are playing on a masterclass, in particular on their Vanguard line. So Boom Crew needs more to happen across the board. I can't even point towards the individual points where it's not looking good. Like we looked at like the ult banks, we looked at just the overall general picks. Like they're just not seeing enough happen across the board here. And Shikigami looking great. I mean, just look at the differences here when you comparatively to just like the overall frags, the overall limbs, the deaths. Like it's just a very, very strong stat line.
Yeah, and Shikigami known for going up 2-0. But folding in the past, ZP. Reverse sweep cannot happen tonight. But honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. If you allow these same comps in, there is a Groot difference. The bigger roots belonging to Krasmang throughout the first 2 rounds. Boom Crew, where do you take us next? We have to wait and find out. First, the highlights, though. And I have to ask, are we going to see Storm all night? Can you even shut her down, Avast?
I mean, you definitely can. There's a lot of options. I think just as the team's playing her very tactically, just to play certain around the corners, because typically they're going to be swapping. You know, a little bit later, you don't see her played like full time necessarily. You're like, okay, we're going to play in areas where Storm's going to get a lot of value with the aura, then swap where you get to a little bit of a more wide open point. But Storm definitely brings a lot of, I think, versatility and a little bit of burst for teams that are looking to make a statement.
Sidewalks coming in for Fraud. You
Look at that
Storm swap, and then I was gonna say, ZP, walk me through some of the big moments here in OT.
I mean, in OT, what we just saw was continual control coming out from Shikigami. I mean, obviously, we just saw some of the wall play coming in from Krasmang, but Boom Crew just felt like they got stuck in a cycle where they'd lose someone and then they'd throw good money after bad with their ultimates, and things would just get rougher and rougher over time. Although I think a lot of that was just Shikigami. I mean, we need to give a little bit more love to the strategist side too. I mean, the invisible boundary time from Ricky, just riding the edge over and over again of how long can I wait till I put this down? Waits just the right amount of time, gets it down, saves the team in turn. And also, just a note on the Storm play that we're seeing, I think the Storm play is also in part a consequence of the fact that Hell has been banned every map. So, you know, the skies are a little bit clearer when you don't have to worry about a dagger taking you out of the sky every 2 seconds.
We want to give a big shout out to everyone who has found the stream. Yes, we restarted it for North America. Yes, we're currently in the Challengers match. Yes, Shikigami is on match point. What happens if they win? Well, they go play 100 Thieves, and that would be coming up in a few moments. But first, while we're waiting on Game 3 to be sorted out and our players to do their bans and protects, do us a favor. Drop the follow button, hit that subscribe. If you have a Prime, you got a free sub. Why not invest on your favorite show every Thursday night? Pay the people behind the scenes who clip the clips, who press the buttons, who touch the switches. ZP just staring at Venom ass all night long. Look at this, guys. I've just been eyeing him. I've been keeping watch. ZP, my guy. We got to get you another poster.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually, I've been switching it up. Like, people have noticed, it's just like the Venom goes in and out. Like right now, it's back to Luna, but when you're not looking, it's gonna go back to Venom. It's just a little bit of production wizardry that I'm actually controlling. Not even the main production. I have the power.
Production within a production.
Yeah.
A vast casting from a Nintendo Switch. ZP doing his own show within the show. We're going to the path. Avast, get me excited.
I mean, I see Path of Yggdrasil, and if you want to see more Groot play, this is a very good map for Groot if they want to continue to play it. But I feel like Boom Crew, they have to be getting tired of getting beaten by Craftsman Groot at this point. So maybe they look to make a swap. If they're feeling really confident, they can continue it. So overall, if you're a fan of Groot, then this is going to be a very nice path to do so, you know, a very nice option. So it just depends on what Boom Crew really wants to prioritize. I think it's going to be up to them to kind of like make the tempo change up how they're going to play here.
All right, Boom Crew once again removing the Hela. On the other side, we've seen the Loki and Adam banned each time. Shikigami has protected a Groot and a Luna. I think Groot's going to be the protector. Yes, sir.
Yep.
And on the other side, Star-Lord, more of an impact than Winter Soldier, you think, ZP?
I think Star-Lord has been a huge impact when they play it. The problem is it's been more of an impact for Shikigami. So if you're Boom Crew, okay, they decide, okay, we're going to protect Warlock, and we want to do more Star-Lord, perhaps for Star-Lord. It's what they're signaling off here. Now, if you're Shikigami, the question is, do you ban...
No more. I love this.
Yeah, and the Moore's not going to play. Do you ban the Star-Lord in turn, just not give Boom Crew what they want, even though Amadian has looked incredible on the Star-Lord? You know, do you play to your strengths or do you hurt your enemy? And they get rid of Mantis, and that will really hurt a triple strategist setup.
Heroes could make all the difference.
The no Mantis. I'm trying to think of the big impact here. If I'm Star-Lord, I'm still vibing, right? I got my cocoon. I'm still going to get my Galactic Legend nonstop. There's no Hela to hurt me. There's really no Luna that can freeze me or cause me damage. Avast, what stops a Star-Lord in this scenario for all of us Diamond, low GM players?
I mean, you can look to a fellow Star-Lord, perhaps. You've seen a lot of duels, more than likely. Realistically, without a Luna, you don't have that idle aura either to give the snowflake. So, unless you're playing a very heavy dive setup, expect to see a lot of Star-Lord duels. Because, like we talked about, there's not going to be a Mantis. We're not going to be seeing the Hela and shoot them out of the sky. Bucky can. I mean, Winter Soldier can do a little bit of mitigation, and even Rocket Raccoon. But realistically, it's going to be, if they're playing Star-Lord, you'll probably see Star-Lord. Boom Crew can make it a stylistic choice, which you kind of see here, Fraud hovering over it. They could choose to play the Storm again to try to play a more Death Ball style. So we're going to like use the aura, play really aggressively, maybe ignore the Star-Lord a bit. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I wouldn't be shocked if they just keep playing, just mirroring the Star-Lord. We're just going to see a lot of Star-Lord duels.
3, 2, 1.
Well, Dust, we're going into it, and it's going to be Shikigami here on the defense first. Krausmag, no surprise on the Groot. Groot battles continuing all day long. But now we'll see how this first fight goes if Boom Crew can lock in with their tournament life on the line. If they don't win this map, they will not be gaining the right to go against 100 Thieves and get their upper bracket rematch. But here we go.
What a good wall. The walls are really good here from Krausmag. Again, when you watch him, when you see how it goes, it's Amadian, though, getting caught.
Yeah, a little bit of difference here, but BRB going to bring Median back in, but Vibrato able to get down Krasmang right away. Again, buffed on up by the Rocket. And Boom Crew right now, slowly but surely moving on in. Another nice hook. Might result in Magneto falling here. Keeping up the pressure. Scout Genji gonna go down. And off this Winter Soldier play, Boom Crew looking a little bit renewed and rejuvenated.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that can still work consistently right now in Season 1 meta against a counter to kind of everything, it still is Winter Soldier. Sometimes you just need that extra damage, you hit the hook, and it'll guarantee some picks there. Shikigami, looks like they still want to go for the recontest. Coming on in.
Looking on in, Invisible Boundary gonna get dropped. Fraud right now. Galactic Legend good to go as soon as the Boundary impact is gone. Median is already out of the fight. Meteor M gonna be used. Vibrato, Kraken impact over and in. Ricky down, reset gained. 2 right now, make it 3. And the first point, often hard to cap, will be Boom Crew's.
Yo, did you guys see how I stole his highlight? Put my name up there with a sub. You guys can do the same thing. All you got to do is use your Prime.
That's actually such a good way to sell it. Is that, guys, what if we just block and just steal the glory from all the players and just do subs and donations only? That's so smart. That's so smart here.
Well, also, Puckett is cheating on that though, because like Puckett can time it with the real-time feed, whereas the actual feed has a delay. So you actually have to like see the future a little bit to do it as a viewer. But it's still a good idea if you want to steal the glory. But here we go. What we're gonna right now is
ZP hates money. Fire this guy, Hex.
ZP hates money. I'm just being realistic.
Get it trending. ZP hates money. Get it trending.
Oh my goodness. Wow, we got a baby coming on in. Blaster Barrage for Shikigami as they try to recover, get a little bit of stability, just as I were trying to recover a little bit of stability in the cast. Sia though, potentially about to come out here from Velocity and Median. Again, super low, gets healed back up in time. Blaster Barrage back onto the convoy. Monster able to take down Krasmang. And Boom Crew right now, look, it's still looking way better at Vast.
And on top of that, they got no value. Shikigami got absolutely 0 value there from Krasmang's Strangling Prison. So that means that Boom Crew picks up this fight win. They're gonna have 4 ults. They didn't have to use Monster Strangling Prison. They hold on to Strangling. I mean, that's one of the best possible fights they're gonna have for Boom Crew there on second in that situation. Is pretty much someone that's been historically very impactful with their ults. Krasmang getting absolutely nothing, completely mitigated. So Shikigami, they're gonna look for the recontest. They do have a decently solid ult bank, but it's just so hard to get back in here when you're playing into the group for the retake. They need to have someone touch. It's gonna be a Median just coming on in there with the proposals.
The Median drops on in, they use the invisible barrier, and it's already over. Ricky getting demolished. Vibrato able to just drop the Kraken impact and immediately removes the angle of contest from the fight. It's gonna be point to the Boom Crew. Where was this team the last 2 maps have asked?
A really, really good question. A very good question. However, for Shikigami, like, yes, Boom Crew are looking back. They're looking stronger. That was a relatively cheap fight for them, right? You only use the Invisible Boundary for Ricky. You get some ults out of Boom Crew. For Boom Crew, you get really happy because your tempo is great. You can fight really aggressively here. But Shikigami, this should be their chance to turn it around here. And they ideally also don't have to invest too much.
Here we go. Galactic Legend going to be used by Fraud here in the back. Meteor M out from Scatter Genji in response, and it just takes down for Vibrato right where he stands. BRB bring him right back into the fray. However, Deus looking to fall through. Kraken impact with 2. Moving on forward to Shikigami, showing signs of life here on third. Ricky, a little bit of help on the execution at the end.
And that's what Shikigami you definitely wanted to see, but relatively expensive. I mean, that was a lot of ults invested. Sure, you're going to get Boundary again. You're going to have the Strangling Prison. This is their moment for Krasmang to get a very, very high impact ult. Not a lot of strategies across the board for Boom Crew. I mean, to be fair, Koodle Noodle about to have the Invisible Boundary. So actually going to be a bit of a race. Probably going to look to trade out, force the strategy ult here.
Oh.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. They don't use it. They hold it.
President from Krasmang. Yeah, right before it could be built. Just drops it from afar. Sets up for 2 quick eliminations. And just like that, the hot retreat coming on in. So Krasmang, right place, right time with the Prison of Vast. And this is really getting Shikigami back into the round where Boom Crew was at one point just running away with it.
For Boom Crew, though, you can be happy because that's a relatively fast fight loss. You hold on to the boundary here. You know there's no Strengthening Prison. They need to be watching for a Median. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to look to set up, but they're already down days.
Median dropping the Galactic Legend, however, having to work around the Invisible Boundary, and just gets dropped. Vibrato over and in. Now dropping the Kraken impact. Resets not yet to be found here so far. Hard to see much with the dueling Invisible Boundaries. But what we have to know, Boom Crew able to get a few more eliminations in the chaos. And now Vast, 2 minutes, 40 seconds left. A lot of time left and not far to go.
And Shikigami's bank here looking pretty strong. I mean, the Invisible Boundary doing a lot of work there for Koodle, making sure to not just keep everyone up, but also denied the LOS to make sure that Evadian couldn't get healed when that Galactic Legend went in, which was so important. Force Physics goes in. They don't get anyone off the high ground just yet. They're going to find anyone here.
Rod looking to put this one away. Galactic Legend being used, able to pummel down Deus, gets one more for good measure, about to make it 3, force them back in the spawn door. Boom Crew, a clean 3, now 4 pickoffs as the convoy nearly where it needs to be. Shikigami completely in tatters, and this would be incredibly fast time for Path here, Vast, one of the quickest we've ever seen.
I mean, here comes the recontest. Day's going to touch, but unfortunately, no one else is going to make it. There's walls all over the place. They put up the boundaries.
2, 3.
Little under 2 minutes for Boom Crew. That's a very, very fast time.
Which side you're on?
Yeah, it's lightning fast. There's no other way to put it. And I mean, look, for Boom Crew, where you're trying to pick yourself up after a rough 2 maps, right? Like, at some level, your mental not as good as you would like it to be coming into the series, especially if you were underestimating Shikigami because, you know, they weren't ultra present in MRC. But doing a speed run on the path, I feel like that helps a bit, Avast.
It does. It does. I mean, that's the Z Psychology Hour for you. We're going to have the Z Psychology segment come on in every once in a while to discuss the mental status of the squads, but you're definitely right there in that it has to feel good. That's a very good time. I do think teams have just been getting a lot better on offense, on Path of Yggdrasil in general, across the board here in Marvel Rivals Esports. So definitely something that was at times an unassailable last point has been working a lot better for teams, which to be expected. So now the question is, does Boom Crew, they have an offense, do they have a defense here for Path? Do they have an equally strong defense? Are they going to have some up their sleeves? Right now, they're running pretty much a similar comp. No changes. They're not going to play a Storm to try to use the aura on the corner or anything. So Shikigami, just a question of, are they going to stick with this? The spawn doors, they love to lie. Don't trust the Black Widow. Don't trust. They're probably not going to do anything with it.
Maybe take a quick shot and then go back.
Okay.
And you power up your Magneto a little bit, the team up. Sky going to be able to, you know, get the, by the way, embrace it while it is. That may be the last time you see that team up in a competitive match because it's going away next season.
And it's gone.
And it's gone. But, you know, in the interim, decent amount of space created right now from Shikigami. Moving on forward, Krasbang needs some damage and poke all the while. As the neutral game continues to evolve here, they're a little bit past the choke point. Not the worst here so far. See if Krasbang can land a wall. Hook comes on in. Enemy Groot, Monster, real danger right now as Krasbang gets knocked up 90 HP. Able to survive as Madian gets the backline, takes down Lagva while they were healing Monster. However, BRB gonna get them back to full strength. Sia gonna be dropped. Boom Crew, they're a little bit pummeled, but they're not out of it here just yet. Shikigami still looking for a definitive advantage. Krasbang getting super, super low. And the boundary from Ricky barely hitting in time to keep Shikigami in this fight. It continues. Koodle, though, gonna be able to drop the counter boundary here in a second. Boom Crew, a little bit head on economy. The hook comes in the Krasbang, into the invisible boundary, into the dead Groot. Krasbang gone, and Boom Crew plays that brilliantly there, Avas.
I mean, they definitely played that brilliantly, but you just can see here, as I mean, even more ultimately invested for the chase. They're just wanting to chase the crack and impact as well. The CYA and spawn. I wanted to talk about the last fight, but there's no time. The fight's still going. They're all the way in the spawn doors. They're way too close. The Vanguard's going down, getting caught. They're going to have the hooks. They're going to have the option to just get more cleanup. I wanted to talk about, I loved what Ricky did there. There's so many clutch plays, but unfortunately for Boom Crew, they chased a little too deep. They invested ults to try to get staggers, and it's really worked against them.
Yeah, I mean, they won, but then they didn't realize that they need to stop winning for a time. Just take the win and leave. Good advice for many areas in life, but in this case, Boom Crew now on the back foot of their own making. Shikigami looking to punish. Now, Galactic Legend in from over the top of the Meteor M! Hits 3! Scatter Genji continuing to hit the meatiest Meteor M's you've ever seen.
I mean, those are meaty M's, extremely meaty M's, and even with a really, really smart recontest from Boom Crew, right? Because they make sure to get the Strange so they can portal off one side of all that fire that's coming through, so they get essentially a shield, right? It's an impenetrable shield. They're not going to take any damage, and allows them to get onto the point a bit faster. But in return, they use all their cooldowns to get through. The chase hurts them a lot because then they're all stuck in the corridor of death there for Scatter Genji, and now Shikigami holding extremely aggressively. They do have the Strangling Prison, but so does Monster. So for both sides, have that ult available. No strategist ults up. Maybe just gonna be a dance looking for the prisons.
And Krasbang has not been shy about looking for prisons, and not shy this time around. Drops it early into fight. However, no eliminations just yet, but it's Fraud. Fraud can't get away. Krasbang, though, in deep trouble. Gets pulled in, able to get back on out. Deus in the chaos, finds Lagvis. And now you just got Shikigami moving forward, forcing the retreat out of Boom Crew, getting more progress on the convoy. But the retreat of Ass is good enough that Boom Crew can come right back into this, and you gotta be looking at Vibrato as he comes on in.
And also, they have the combo. They have the Strangling Prison, they have the Kraken Impact, and still no strategist ults up for Shikigami. Just the CYA, which does not do much to mitigate damage.
They haven't got the point just yet. The Strangling Prison is out. Here comes Kraken Impact in turn, and Vibrato knocks down what is set up by Monster right at the apex of the second point. Really well executed by the Boom Crew.
It's classic. It's the alley-oop, you know? Realistically, Groot is just kind of like the assist merchant. He's just like, he is the guy. He's the big point. He's the big post guard there for those that know ball. I'm not even, you know, he's set up below the basket, just getting ready every time to set everyone else up. So now, probably screw that up entirely. NBA heads are going to be coming for me. And so now,
yeah, I mean, you're done.
I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. He does not know ball. He does not know ball. He does not know ball. Okay.
Matt Morrell is going to be in your inbox in like 5 seconds. You're done, buddy. But here we go. Meteor M dropped on in. Fraud. Dropping the Galactic Legend here. Scare Genji, though, again. Meteor M able to get in the noodle. BRB going to bring him back into the fray. But again, Shikigami setting the pace of battle here once more. Krasbang going to be looking for the prison. Drops the prison over and in. I think only got one off that. Vibrato, meanwhile, punishes a Madian, and now Boom Crew looking to bring it back the other way in turn. Kraken Impact from Vibrato. It's a fall through going to be there, looking for the execute. Needs lower HP than that. Doesn't look like he's going to get it, but hey, in the end, Krasbang ends up falling. Boom Crew gets to move on forward and wipe out Shikigami.
Oh, I mean, this is once again the moment where we talked about how Boom Crew, this is a team that's had a lot of history, they were always been really strong mechanically. You're seeing it here, right? Even if they didn't get max value from those ults, they made sure to pop the CYA late. They're there to hit all those shots, follow up the damage, because who needs, you know, why even bother with the cooling effect of the Kraken Impact when you just have a damage boost and you just finish off those frags anyways? So now Shikigami, they're in a pretty deep, I would not even say decent, pretty rough spot overall. They're coming in with an Kraken Impact of their own. They are going to have a CYA. They're close to a boundary. This is a very, very important fight because if they commit here and lose, it's going to be a really tough recontest, maybe with the portal. Might even just be over entirely. So this is the fight to determine the map.
Boom Crew looking to keep themselves alive in the series. All eyes got to be on Monster, the Strangling Prison. Good to go. Boom Crew decide to give up a little bit of space right now. Then they drop the boundary, but the boundary's not in time. Velocity goes on down. Vibrato, though, in turn takes down Deus. Both teams down one here so far. Madian runs afoul of Lagva with diving into the backline, and now Vibrato, room to work with. Moving on in, Kraken Impact good to go. Takes the quick little Groot abduction. And now Scour Genji, Meteor M, not going to be a huge one this time, as Shikigami loses their footing. Boom Crew holding them back. Only 40 seconds remain now, Vast.
I mean, and now they've had days go to the Strange to get back faster, to make it here to the point. They don't have a lot of ults on the board. The Galactic Legend used, but can they find anything? They have to find something because they don't find anything. Boom Crew can make it. They can make it back in. They can get back in here with ults.
The problem is they lose Monster. The Galactic Legend ends up splitting Boom Crew as they come back on in. And Deus able to take down Vibrato. Suddenly, things winnable right now for Shikigami. The portal changing the just entire destiny of this fight here so far. It's Deus on the swap, and it's a good one. And now Boom Crew may be locked out. I mean, their group tries to come back in, but it's just simply into the blender. As Shikigami, they stay alive, Avast, but the time bank difference right now, palpable.
What a swap and what aggression from Shikigami. So the portal to make it back in time, they have all that extra aggression knowing the strategy ults aren't up yet for Boom Crew, so they send in a Madian, splitting Boom Crew, and then split them further with the walls from Krasbang, which means they can isolate those picks, and Boom Crew, they're afraid to invest their ults. They're afraid to commit to the fight, and now it's giving Shikigami some breathing room. It's giving them a chance here to continue the map.
They have a chance, but they're going to have to go through the battering ram of ult to kick this off. Invisible Boundary immediately dropped Fraud, dropping the Galactic Legend, looking for pickoffs into the back. Ricky's Invisible Boundary going to keep Shikigami alive, but Vibrato again able to move over, sets things up with the Kraken Impact. Reset after reset here, Avast, and now only 45 seconds or so remain.
Look at this terrible stagger here for Scatter Genji as well. Dude, oh, it's so bad. They're body blocking. They're like, help me. And then he's gone. Oh man, it's just disastrous. I mean, it's guaranteed a last fight. Guaranteed that this is the last fight here. Now, Boom Crew did invest a lot, right? They only have the Meteor M. So Shikigami, their bank is really strong. And also, they don't know that Krasbang got rezzed here. They don't know that Krasming's behind them. So this could just be an immediate win off the Strangling Prison.
You know, for a tree guy, he's pretty stealthy. Goes into the back, drops Strangling Prison. Hello, says Krasmang, and goodbye, says Days. What a 1-2 punch. The stealth Groot. No one saw it coming, literally.
I mean, the problem there, though, is honestly, I think they overinvested. I think Days did not have to pop the Kraken Impact. I think they potentially would have won. There wasn't strategy ult yet. Maybe some ult tracking situations that maybe went a little wrong there for Shikigami, because they really would have liked to have the Kraken Impact for this fight. They would love to have it later, because Boom Crew have a chance to build up ults.
Gonna have Galactic Legend in early from Amadian, looking for things, and gets it. Snipes Fraud out of the sky. Scatter Genji moves on forward. They deal with Monster. The BRB gets a few back up, but Boom Crew right now getting sent back to spawn. Shikigami wanting to keep this one going. Overtime ticking down. The convoy nearly at its final destination. And oh boy, this could be a big one. Scatter Genji hanging on. The Meteor M is good to go. The invisible boundary has been dropped by Boom Crew, but all eyes on Scatter Genji. Big Meteor M's all day long, and that one is a whiff. Doesn't get what he's looking for. Boom Crew still able to turn this one around. Galactic Legend in from Fraud. Finds Days. Boom Crew looking for their first map win here in our first series. Amadian, though, able to go forward. Krasmang with 2. And Shikigami might be extending this one yet.
I mean, Krasmang just can't be doing this much. I think this is going to be it, CP. I don't think they're going to have to get tested. I think it's going to be capping for Shikigami, sending us in extra rounds. And it is. And Krasmang continues to be, I mean, Boom Crew, they make it back. They use the invisible boundary. Exactly what I thought was going to be a problem there is that they didn't have the Kraken Impact, right? They're like, okay, we don't have a finisher. Boom Crew builds up ults. They managed to make it back, but Krasmang again, finding those key limbs to win the fight, even though Vibrato had a Kraken Impact coming out late.
Whew, Shikigami staying alive. And yet, I mean, time bank-wise, still not an ideal situation. Boom Crew still working with an advantage, but, you know, if you're Boom Crew, you kind of think about where this went, where they nearly held them off back at second, and you wonder about lost opportunities, where I kind of feel like the theme of the series, to an extent, has been, you know, Boom Crew having Shikigami down, but as it turns out, they're not out until they're really out, and finishing them off, it's just been a struggle.
It really has. And like, you look at this too, and you see like, okay, Monster's limbs, like when you just do a Groot advantage, because we talk a lot about Krasmang versus Monster. Monster looks really, really good. Like, on paper, these players are looking really strong. If anything, I mean, there's almost more limbs, you know, not necessarily more final hits, more limbs going the way of Monster. But I just feel like Krasmang's impact has been so impressive here. It's impact finds for this player. So now, Shikigami. They have 1 minute, CP. They have obviously no ults across the board. We've got a complete reset. It's not domination. It's potentially a one-fight scenario, but wait, look at this. Dinks is on Scarlet Witch as well. They have 2 team-ups there for the Magneto trying to get something early, which, by the way, also another thing you're not going to see again come up to Season 2. Yeah. So enjoy it while it lasts.
A little bit of metallic fusion. Maybe the last time you see it. We said that last time, but not really maybe the last time.
Now it really is the last time. Until Boom Crew does it on their offense.
40 seconds to go here. And Boom Crew, I mean, they're playing the choke interestingly. They're being a little bit further back than the average team. A lot on Vibrato right now. Infinite Grit used. How much value are you going to get on here on the Bucky? Are you going to be able to build the Kraken Impact early? Instead, you're going to get hooked. Ruin some of your DPS output for sure. Shikigami right now just looking for an edge into the neutral game. Fraud. Over the top right now. Blaster Barrage into the backline of Shikigami. Is going to get people low enough here. The Seal going to be dropped here by Shikigami in turn. Both teams looking for it. Invisible boundary down, but Krasmang takes down his counterpart. Monster gone. BRB brings him back in. But again, Shikigami getting positional advantage off this. And Galactic Legend in from Madian. Madian's been so good at judging it and is good once more. Takes down Monster. This time he's not coming back. Gets hooked in and decides to stay. Not really much of his choice, but regardless, gets picked off in turn. The hook evening the scales a little bit, but right now, Krasmang dropping the prison. Fall through's gonna be there, Vast, and this could be a long push indeed.
Oh, Shikigami played that so well. I mean, I thought it looked a little bit risky there for a bit when the hook comes out, finds a Madian there, but they made all that space with the Galactic Legend. Additionally, because of the splits that come up from the wall from Krasmang, they're able to get that pick on the Monster early, even though BRB's up, and then they can drop their Strangling Prison into the choke, into that door. Now, Boom Crew, they are going to have 4 ults coming up on 5, so there's a pretty strong situation for them here, but Scatter Genji, been someone to watch. Ricky too on the strategy. If they can just mitigate some of the value here from these ults, if they can maybe find 1, even 2 from the Meteor M, there's a chance this push keeps happening.
I gotta be looking at Scar Genji here, see what the deal is gonna be. But here we go. Vibrato, Kraken Impact good to go. Meteor M in from Lagva first. Fraud dropping the Galactic Legend. Invisible Boundary stymiing him all the way. Crossman is able to take down Monster. Kirby brings him on back. Shikigami. Meteor M has already been used as Fraud takes down Krasbang, and here we go. Vibrato looking to stop this push here now. Kraken Impact used. Resets though, not found here so far. BRB keeping Shikigami in the fight. Both teams still in it. Sia now gonna be dropped, and here comes Amadian. Galactic Legend could be huge. Daze gets down 2 while the Legend is popped, and Amadian keeps it ongoing. Shikigami, they do not know the meaning of stopping right now, Avast.
I mean, so well played, the scatter. And I just want to point out something. I'm fairly certain, I feel like we can make it a highlight. I think Krasbang used his wall to block the Strangling Prison for Monster, because remember, it's a projectile. It is a projectile. You can block it. I think he blocked it, which allowed that fight to potentially just make sure the strat to stay up as a recon test happened here for Boom Crew. They don't have anything. They're going to be walking into the CYA. Dinks could just pop it for free. They could pop the prison. They have a lot of options here. And I mean, they're afraid to get tested. They get walled off. They don't want to commit extra. And Shikigami doesn't use anything. And now this push is an extremely long one, ZP.
I mean, this is ridiculous. It's the overtime push that does not end. And now, you just look at Shikigami. They are greedy for more. They have the ult to support a Krasman gang hooked on in and might say, thank you for the hook on in. I'm going to drop a prison off that. Is the fall through going to be there? Daze immediately coming on in. 3 off the Kraken Impact so far. The hook that they might not have wanted at all, Avast.
I mean, and they do have the BRB, so Shikigami, to get to stay in the fight, they're going to have a Meteor M. Dink still hasn't used the CYA either. They still have a CYA to use in this fight, and there's not going to be a lot of strategy holds up. I mean, Koodle does not have the invisible boundary yet. If they pop it around the corner, they can potentially just find one right off the bat. It's almost Dink's holding a little bit too long. If anything, as Boom Crew come back in, looking for the recon test. They need to make something happen.
Right now, we're looking at Scar Genji, who's been the biggest baller on Magneto all map long. Can he do it one more time? Galactic Legend pop, Meteor M in turn. Scar Genji takes down Vibrato right then and there. However, Galactic Legend for Fraud hits Pater in the back, gets Ricky. One of the most important picks you can get, ends up with 2. Fraud coming to life right now. Maybe finally putting an end to the Shikigami push. Right now, chasing Rocket in the back, and that is one squirrely raccoon as you see Rocket just getting out. And the push is finally stopped, but for an overtime push with 1 minute, Avast, this was tremendous from Shikigami.
That's a heinously long push. That's a heinously long push for Shikigami in this situation. And it might have even continued if it wasn't for like a slight bit of a misplay there at the end where Ricky pops the invisible boundary. They're trying to support Amadian, but because of that, they're outside of the radius, right? They're not getting the benefits of that ult. And so they're going to go down. They're going to get caught by Fraud. And overall, still, even with that, Shikigami looked incredibly good. Incredibly good on that offense. Is exactly what the amount of, you love the full cap obviously, but with a minute, that's a really, really strong push. And now that's a ton of pressure on Boom Crew. Yes, they capped with 2 minutes to go on their first offense, but Shikigami looking a bit better, looking potentially maybe more confident now. And there's no guarantee you can just repeat the map again, be like, oh yeah, we'll just full cap it again.
Avast, I went through, I reviewed the footage. Mang is the man. Ult denied by a wall. Ridiculous reflexes. He did see the invisible woman shift come out. That could have been a little bit of a heads up, but a perfect counter to keep that run alive.
Okay, and where's my call out for ridiculous casting reflexes for seeing that one? Where's that one?
I feel like you just got the call
Well, you kept like mumbling for 40 seconds between the rounds when I wanted to give you your shout out.
Oh, okay. Okay. He's got to humble me. He can't let me soar too high. Can't let me soar a little bit too high.
Well, I mean, if we let you soar too high, your entire setup would actually collapse right now. Like, if you're actually
soaring. Look at this rocket, fam.
And also Soren. We got Storm, Fraud, out here for Boom Crew. They don't want to let another map slip away from them after an incredible start. And this time around, though, they lose Monster right away. The neutral game not looking as great for them. This Storm might get swapped real fast here, Vest.
It's just the risk you take, right? You're gonna say, like, okay, we try to pop out the Storm, we use that aura to just win a burst fight. I mean, they're still getting a lot of value here. They're close to the Mega Hurricane, so it's definitely working. They're getting value, but Shikigami in return, because of all this AoE damage, look at Dinks, look at Ricky, they already have ults up.
Yeah, and I mean, they might just drop 1 or 2 of them here immediately. Just, again, they can stall time a little bit. Prison's going to be used here by Krasmang. If the fall through going to be there, it is Daze on the Vibrato right away. Omega Hurricane now built up here from Fraud, so at this point, you probably stay on the Storm, you probably use it, but you don't like what's happening to your time bank right now if you're Boom Crew.
And also because Shikigami are playing this really aggressive comp where they're playing triple Vanguard and they have both strategy ults up available, this Omega Hurricane's not that scary. You have 3 beefy tanks. You have 3 beefy players. You have double strategy ult. They're just gonna have to pop it just to put some pressure on them.
Mega Hurricane gonna be used here by Fraud is gonna get the value they want. In turn, they're able to take down 2 right away. It's a massive Hurricane, called category 5, as Boom Crew is able to break this aggressive hold. But you know, Vast, with the distance they have to go, it's just step 1. I mean, Shikigami is favored to knock them out right now.
And they're still sticking with the triple Vanguard here. They're going to keep the triple Vanguard. They're going to play it for this fight. They still have an invisible boundary if they want to potentially use it into the Strangling Prison for Monster. But this is the problem, right? Okay, they pop invisible boundary. There is going to be the combo. There's the meteor up available. As the portal comes on out, they're going to make it through. Can they find anyone?
Ricky needs to live. Ricky lives just enough to get the invisible boundary. Nearly gets picked off. Meteor M from Scatter Genji. This time, not going to land. And Boom Crew, they're ready for this portal. The collapse on the Shikigami is huge. So absolute disaster for Shikigami on the recontest. Keeps Boom Crew alive.
However, look at the ult bank. Look at the tried and true Krazming with the Strangling Prison, Dace with the Kraken Impact. That is the combo here. If they want to try to go for this contest, there's nothing in Boom Crew's bank. They don't even necessarily have to contest. It could be risky. They could just play here for second. They could just play here for second. That's exactly what we're going to do.
I think they wait too. Like, I don't think you try and engage in the next 15 seconds. I think you just posture and you wait until it's truly final fight. Because you've wiped them out right now. Boom Crew could get back. You don't want that.
So true. So incredibly true. They do not want that. So Shikigami here playing the corner, giving them a little bit of space. Actually, they're giving them maybe a little bit too much space because there's a lot of free fire here coming out from the Infinite Grid. There's a prison. Can't get it. There's the impact.
Yep, and the setup, it is there. Shikigami, they have done it. Boom Crew came in with a lot of expectations, but they hit just the harsh wall of reality. Shikigami making it a 3-0. Boom Crew, who is ahead in map 1, ahead at points in map 3. They could not find a way to finish it off, and Shikigami punishes them all series long.
I mean, this was a... I mean, I just have to give so much credit to Shikigami in general. They looked really, really good. This is a team that's kind of been floating around this top team area. They've been, you know, in MRI, out of MRC, in Fight Night, not in Fight Night. And they looked great here. And Boom Crew is a team that has had a lot of history being very, very strong. So it was not a pushover team here. So I have to give a lot of credit to Shikigami. I loved how they played. I really think their front line and their back line. This wasn't just like a duelist show, because some teams you watch them, Virtus.pro.
Right.
You watch them and it's just a duelist show. But and not to say that the other Virtus.pro players are by any means bad or not good. It's just they just take over that kill feed. They take over the game. And this felt a lot more, you know, front line and back line sided.
Ricky with a lot of pressure tonight. Playing with a raccoon ain't easy always, but they get the job done, both sides with a fair fight. The mirror match goes down, and it's Shikigami walking away with a 3-0 every game. Going some extra rounds though, ZP. How do you think they're going to fare against 100 Thieves coming up next?
I think here's the problem against 100 Thieves is that they fell behind against Boom Crew a lot, did Shikigami, and they brought back the fundamentals. I don't think you can give a team like 100 Thieves leads like that and expect 100 Thieves to fumble the ball. It's just not going to happen. So for Shikigami, we need like late game Shikigami to come in at the beginning of every game going to the next series, or it's going to be a quick 3-0 for 100 Thieves.
All right, they were asking us, who do we think deserves the MVP? Avast, you and I are on the same page. It's got to be the Vanguard, the Groot Man, Krazman, whatever you want to call him, chat. He's popping off. And one of the highlights earlier, ZP, in their first round on the attack, he throws up a wall, goes down to 12 HP, and then uses the rocket jump pack to fly up in the sky, stays alive just long enough to keep that fight going for another minute 30. It's like small micro movements, small micro thoughts that they're all putting in. The rocket wasn't on the map at the time. They did that earlier in the spawn before the round even kicked off. All right, highlights should be ready at this point. ZP, what was your favorite moment from our MVP, aka Krazman?
I think it'd have to be back on Spider Islands, where you just see Krazman just make the fortress around himself and keep himself healthy under the Psylocke dive that was coming on in. Just, I think really good group play comes down to like how you are manipulating your positioning, how you are giving yourself the absolute best neutral possible. And Krazman, whether it be blocking, ultimates coming in from the opposing Groot, whether it be, you know, building the fortress right here at the right time, just made himself incredibly difficult to kill and was able to
that's
get
actually crazy.
key eliminations after.
Just blocking the dance of the butterfly too, and then it's the death box, right? They come in there, and this is what really separates fantastic group players. And you hit on it a bit, Puckett, and same thing for UCP, is the positioning, the micro decisions here with the walls. The walls, they're such a strong part of his kit, and if you can, get value from the Strangling Prison, set up your team repeatedly, be that assist master, which Krasman did often, so often, and just as importantly, made sure to use the walls even defensively in terms of blocking ults, blocking healing. Like, this is something that a group player at the top level can get an incredible amount of value from.
And this is going to make our next match very exciting. Vinny, known for his group play, will Krasman be able to run his ideal hero? Dominant performance on one of the best vanguards in Season 1. It all changes tomorrow as we welcome Emma Frost to the world.
Yeah, also that final clip there, my goodness, the stealth Groot where you just don't realize that he's resurrected in your backline. That was also a thing of beauty. But yeah, I mean, you look at our day here today, Royal Beamer surprising LG, nearly taking them down. LG getting a map off Virtus.pro. Will 100 Thieves be the next team to be shaken here? Most people would say it's unlikely, but as time has proven, anything can happen here on Rivals Fight Night.
We have 100 Thieves super fans. Shout out to my guy, Lawyer448, saying, Shiki ain't no Sentinels, bro. We're going to roll them like a quick play. Speaking of, that is our next matchup. It's for $1,000. 100 Thieves taking on Shikigami. Thanks for watching. This is Rivals Fight Night. All the metal in the world belongs to the Genji. Scatter Genji. 3K Meteor M. Keep your eyes on the Vanguard as he now takes on some of the best. We have 100 Thieves, the NA champs here on Rivals Fight Night. They haven't given up their crown since originally taking it. Tonight, they put their honor on the line against Shikigami, a surprise contender. ZP, all the tier 2 squads, they want to be tier 1. Not quite tier 1 yet, so they're all trying to pull each other down like crabs in a bucket. Start talking crap about Shikigami. Well, we saw a fantastic performance, at least from the front line, if not the whole squad.
Yeah, I mean, Shikigami was surprising in all the best ways, and I think the way they did it too bodes really well for this matchup against 100 Thieves, where their fundamentals, like, aside from their early fights, which were not good, the way they came back into the fights had all the hallmarks of a great team. And a thing that I'm really curious on, though, is that they weren't the ones banning Hella in the last matchup. Do they ban Hella and respect the proficiency that 100 Thieves have at that, or do they go, Amadian, you're going to take that duel versus Delina?
I would love to see it. Delina has not been able to run her for like the last 3 shows. So let the man rip. Of course, Scatter Genji with the highlight on the Magneto. Crazemang, though, I think was our highlight, breaking down everything at the end of last match. So many critical moments the group was able to take over. And 100 Thieves is a team that hasn't shied away from the group play. You look at Virtus.pro, that's their insta-ban every time. That is not the same when you look at the squad on the other side of this matchup, Avast.
100%. I mean, the squad on the other side of this matchup is one to be feared. And I mean, until recently, was looking like undisputably the best team in North America, right? They finally did lose. They lost Sentinels in MRC. So they're not unbeatable gods anymore. They're very mortal. They've had close matches, obviously, before. And Shikigami coming off a hot streak of their first match, looking incredibly good, looking like they're willing to play these group compositions that, you know, with some player like Vinny, 100 Thieves always excelled at. It gives an interesting backdrop here where maybe something could continue to happen. Like maybe this is a chance where 100 Thieves are kind of just figuring themselves out. Shikigami coming to the front, you know, it may be just a fluke, obviously, but anyway, it's going to be entertaining.
We have a very special guest in the chat. He goes by the name of Hogs MR, committed to the rival scene right now. ZP, for those who don't know, how do I get that Venom skin?
How do you get that Venom skin? Well, right now, I mean, it may be past time. I don't know if you can still get in game, but it was a promotion in game where you could just get for free by logging in multiple days in a row. And before you know it, you got Venom that has some moves and has some color to it. But I don't know if it's still available right now.
I was just kidding. Sure. I was making you wait on your gas. Let's talk about this guy. He has been a very fun streamer to watch, a very fun player to watch. Hogs' crew on the next episode, ZP, what do we think?
You know, we might have to make it happen. Right. We always like involving the community here. And look, our production's adaptable. We can basically do anything. We can grab someone from the chat and put them on broadcast, and it'll just happen. We did in our other broadcast just a week ago. So, you know, we can do things.
These Hulk buffs are about to hit different. 100 Thieves, Shikigami, the players are almost ready. North America, a little slower than our European friends. They're getting there, though. Just takes them a minute. They're still young. They're moving over from controller to keyboards Avast. They're growing up with all of us. And while we wait, let's just gyrate, shall we?
That's what we've been waiting for. That's what the people have really been wanting. They don't even want, they're not here for the gameplay. No. They're here for the stock footage of Venom twerking. And that's when you talk about adaptable production. This is what it's all about. So I need, ideally, Netties, if you could pop a couple more of these out, pop a couple more of those type of emotes out. This is going to really make the fill segments of the stream a lot easier. We can just get more weird with it every time.
And a reminder, we also have a brand new Vanguard. If you have been playing that front line, that tank role, and you're not getting enough dopamine, well, you'll probably get it next season. I have a feeling this is going to be in every single one of my lobbies. Emma Frost is in ZP. I knew nothing about this character until I saw this preview, and now I am learning everything I can about her.
Learning about the White Queen and her history in the comics, but you know, beyond the comic history right now, people are just looking at the history of what is this Vanguard? Why is Vanguard now the most contested role in Marvel Rivals? And how did I get mind controlled to just go off a cliff? Well, these answers and more will be yours in I think less than 12 hours when the update ends up hitting. So I'm excited to see what happens and excited to see how the teams adapt their gameplay around it, assuming that she is competitively viable.
If you're looking for Emma Frost's hobbies, they are not long walks on the beach. It's more of fighting, manipulating, teaching mutants, running Frost entertainment. We also have their goal of destroying the X-Men. Your Wolverine gonna get smashed, and I don't know if he's gonna be upset about it. Take a look at some of the new moves of Ast.
They're nice. They're very nice, and I think it's actually pretty interesting because I don't think I've ever seen in like a hero shooter ever the concept of an ult that makes you lose control, essentially get feared. Like if you're playing World of Warcraft, that's for the boomers out there that are playing World of Warcraft. I know. I think Puckett, you're in that category. So I think overall, like that's a very interesting ult. Her kit looks really cool. It's someone that is, I think, going to be extremely interesting to play. I will say, however, after 3 characters that all have the blue-white color scheme and have blonde hair, it's going to be tough sometimes to tell what's happening when we're casting.
I have a feeling they're going to sell some skins pretty quickly. That, of course, is still to come in Season 2, so get your downloads ready tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are celebrating the final North American Championship match here in Season 1 gameplay, or Season 1.5, I should say. Hell's Heaven is, of course, the Rivals Fight Night map selection. We're going to start this off with our map pick. From here on out, loser is going to choose where we go. What does that mean? Well, whoever chooses the map, they don't get to ban first. The opposing team does, so they can kind of set the tone in terms of our composition. With Hell's Heaven known by both squads, though, ZP, I think we're probably going to see a Hella unless it's banned out pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is kind of the first test for Shikigami when you get to the bans is, do they blink? Do they fear 100 Thieves and their reputation, the Hella? Most teams will ban the Hella away from 100 Thieves when given the opportunity, but Shikigami, again, they weren't the ones banning in the last series, so I'm really curious to see what the first ban is going to be. And for 100 Thieves, do they ban more standard? Do they take something out like a Wolverine? Or do they target ban things that Shikigami has been good at, where do you get rid of the Groot? No, they decide we don't want to deal with triple strategists. So Shikigami, what do you got?
I mean, for Shikigami here, I mean, they love getting rid of Loki. I was about to say, like, it's probably going to be more strategist ban here, because I think Shikigami, they liked it so far to have that option where, okay, let's remove strategists off the board. They're going to protect the Luna, which means that, okay, maybe a Namor gets played. Even if Namor doesn't, you're definitely going to see the Luna, which makes 100 Thieves, it gives them a little bit of pause, right? Because, like, do you remove the Namor? Do you then get rid of the Namor knowing that Luna's protected? Or do you try to force something else? And they're going to protect Iron, which is interesting.
It could be a hidden strat, Could be up there.
Well, he's getting buffed.
We didn't trust, OG when they busted out of Jeff. It was real.
And they did ban Namor. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, Luna Snow protect means, okay, we force the Luna. So, I look at that and, like, since Namor's gone and you protect Iron Fist, there is a non-zero chance, not saying it's high, that they could even potentially run it knowing that there's not an anti-dive, because there's no Loki, there's no Namor, there's no Adam Warlock, which means that those are all characters you will play often, especially on the strategist line and with Namor, to kind of mitigate the value of some of these more dive-centric duelists and composition.
To open things up, if I'm 100 Thieves, if I'm Harvey, I'm feeling personally challenged. You're taking away my Loki to open things up on domination. Game on! See what he brings out. Cloak and Dagger, Invisible Woman. It's anyone's guess. Hell's Heaven, map number 1. It's your NA Grand Finals. Winner walks away with $1,000. Reminder, if you want to co-stream this match, you can. It's free. It's Rivals Fight Night. All you got to do, spread the word. Let's jump into the game.
It's Hell's Heaven here, Avast, but it's also going to be Hell's Heaven with one L, because I think both these teams are going to be coming out here on the Hella. It was not banned. It is active. So for those who like watching 100 Thieves and like seeing Delina get in there with the Hella gameplay, probably going to get what you want here as we kick things off. Madian on one hand and Delina on the other, but on the same note, Shikigami, they're still in spawn. It could still change, but they're not even showing Hella Avast right now.
No Hella Heaven. No Hella Heaven. And look, 100 Thieves, my beloved. I mean, look at this. Do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see an Iron Fist on there? I mean, you can't trust the spawn doors. You can't trust the spawn doors, but there's no Namor. There's no Namor. There's no Adam Warlock. I mean, that's
okay, we need the...
That's an Iron Fist right there. That is an Iron Fist for Terra. There's no anti-dive. There's no anti-dive. Outside of the Winter Soldier, there's no anti-dive here on the field. They don't have the Warlock. They don't have the Namor. They don't have Loki for the regenerative domain, the regeneration domain. Like, this is big. This is actually very, very interesting.
I'm ready for it. All right, we got Iron Fist locked on in. Let's see what Terra has to say about this. And for now, a little bit of tank pressure right now, giving Magneto a little bit of a back massage. Moving to and fro. Both teams right now setting up. Krasmang, though, under pressure from the back, from the front. Delina over and off. A little bit of a respite right now for Terra. But TTK getting pummeled all the while. 100 Thieves not necessarily keeping positioning right now. Their front line in danger as Terra gets back in. And for now, still trying to make the Iron Fist work fast.
I mean, still producing a lot of space.
Works.
I mean, you get the bonus health. You're putting a lot of pressure onto the backline as well, which means that, okay, they can walk forward. Delina, relatively uncontested. Fate of Both Worlds going to come out for Ricky, going to keep him up, but 100 Thieves, they're still looking in a pretty strong position here. They're going to have more ults post Luna Snow ult.
Terra has activated the Cloak of Invisibility for the last, like, 10 seconds right now, just hitting people in the back, people not giving a care in the world. Fate of Both Worlds did delay for a little while. 100 Thieves hasn't kind of controlled the point yet, but now it will be theirs. So far, Iron Fist successful for 100 Thieves.
I mean, there just isn't a lot on the field unless you spend a lot of time pressuring Terra, especially with how Iron Fist works where, okay, he's so fast. He gets bonus health. He's able to generate so much extra value. Like, he has his kicks. Like, he's extremely mobile across the board. So it's going to be hard. He's going to put a lot of pressure on the backline here. 100 Thieves, huge ult bank here. 6 ults on the board. No Fate of Both Worlds Shikigami. They're down a very crucial strategist ult. So it's going to be extremely hard. Anyways, it's always hard for this recontest. So Shikigami going to be, I mean, really backs against the wall coming on in, hoping just they can find anything.
Also, if you're looking at the Iron Fist, you're not necessarily looking at Delina, who's still going to be a massive threat. And okay, it's just over. It's Strangling Prison, immediate pickoff, and Terra hopping into the fray right after as Shikigami just does a quick retreat.
That's a really cool way to do it, too. Did you see how they did it there, ZP? Vinny, up on the high ground, drops, puts the Strangling Prison on the lip of the high ground, so it brings up Scatter Genji above all the healing, above the LOS of his team.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really smart positioning where, Vinny maybe took a little bit of Feds go. It's like, ah, man, Krasmang's getting all this praise as Groot. Don't you know who's the OG Groot? The one who really, dictates how to play this hero? But here we go. Into the fray, Shikigami, one of their last opportunities to get back in here. Cracking impact at the right here for days. Looking, waiting, drops it into the invisible boundary. Will any executes be found? Not looking super likely here so far. Meanwhile, Madian, Galactic Legend drop. Vinny taking down his counterpart. And you got Delina into the sky, Goddess of Death, raining down doom as 100 Thieves comfortably hold on.
I mean, Terra says he wants the smoke. He's going in. There's punches, there's kicks. He wanted a little too much smoke, I would say. He's in fact suffocated. The smoke it's taking him out. So now,
the best of Texas brisket there, Avast.
Yeah, a little bit. They're gonna have Portal in from Madian to recontest. They still hold on to a meter in, but there's nothing else on the field here versus Strangling Prison versus the Fate of Both Worlds. So this is a very hard fight for Shikigami. Ideally, they need to find something. Maybe find a pick here with just the Meteorium. Anything. They need to find one.
And that is going to be an air ball from Scatter Genji, not on target. Meanwhile, cleanup so decisive off.
That's a triple melee kill. That's a triple melee limb from TTK.
Yeah. Devastating. So round one. Let's review. Let's review. The Iron Fist was real. The Iron Fist worked, and Shikigami got no progress on the point. Let's review. Also, you let Delina through on the Hela, and you don't contest it with your own Hela. You just go, this is fine.
The One Fist is real. No?
We're calling it out right now. This guy, Terra, best duelist on the planet. Ooh,
I mean, currently 11-1.
Or just best in North America. So. Sparker, come on over. Let's figure it out.
I mean, that is a disgusting stat line. I mean, it's one round. It was a roll. It's Hell's Heaven, so you get logged out a bit. So, let's not run away with the narrative just yet. Let's not sensationalize. But it was an Iron Fist round. So it is extremely nasty. So Shikigami looking for some answers. They don't come into this round with any ults, but Krasmang pretty close to a Strangling Prison. Relatively close. So they do have some options, knowing there's no strategist ults for 100 Thieves. So they can potentially just break it open as Ricky getting the speed boost out there with Jeff. And you're going to be watching Krasmang here a lot, ZP, and seeing, can he build that Strangling Prison? Can he get out early before strategist ults come up?
Yeah, I mean, that is the #1 story for Shikigami as they sit up here. You can get the early prison from Krasmang and try and build some early momentum. Scatter Genji, though, is nearly dead. Just getting absolutely pummeled from afar. Is able to get healed back up, though. Strangling Prison nearly built. Krasmang, though, is going to die! Delina finishing off Krasmang before the prison can be dropped. And down your Groot this early in the fight. It does not bode well for Shikigami.
I mean, and Delina's Hela is just so disgustingly nasty. It's why she's been such a perma pick for so many of these top teams that are just winning, because when you have players like Delina on Hela, where you just have so much utility, you have so much damage, you have so much burst, it's just so disgustingly good there for 100 Thieves. Is Terra doing a little bit of hippity hops here on the pillar, waiting to engage, ready to drop some punches into the back line.
Just waiting for the opportunity.
Looking.
Ultimate good to go. Shikigami already backed into a corner and the round has just begun. TTK holding on to the Meteor M. Terra diving into the back line. Ult good to go. Fate of both worlds gonna be dropped off, and as a result, you just hold on to your ult for a little bit, or you get stuck by the prison. Or Terra staying alive nonetheless. The support is there. Now gonna drop the ult. Shikigami again forced on back.
No.
Terra unleashed, getting into the back, takes down Daze, and it's just not getting any better for Shikigami here so far.
And sure, he doesn't get a lot of extra value, extra limbs out of that ult, but because they wait out the fate of the world, because they sold the Strangling Prison from Vinny, they had to put so much pressure on him. It was a really good freeze from Dinks, honestly, making sure they don't get maximums out of value. But that's essentially just more time off the cap. That's more time off the block. They need to get in. They need to get something happening.
Blocked. Scatter Genji not getting much off the ult. And Madian, of course, now onto the Hela. See if they can get some value in much the same way Delina has in turn. Gods of Death good to go. Shikigami already running out of time. 75% to 100 Thieves. Is Madian working the left side flank.
Look away.
Looking for an opportunity. Meanwhile, looks to Iron Fist in the sky as Terra gets healed up all the while. Just being constant nuisance here, Avast. And there it is.
Okay, look out.
Madian.
Look at it. Look at it, actually.
Able to
Look
get
at
things
it.
started. Support pick is huge.
Pressure though, pressure there onto Madian, forcing the Gods of Death to come on out. We're looking to go for Delina, who's gonna just get out of the way, use the Astral Clock, and Meteor him out. Can they find one? They find Crazy. That's a pretty big pick.
Yeah, I mean, you're okay with that Meteor M getting that level of value. Keeps 100 Thieves in the fight. Meanwhile, Terra looks for a little bit of fisticuffs directly in the Madian's face.
Oh no.
Drops down.
They're in the pit. They're in the pit. They fell in the pit.
It seals in Ricky for a moment. Oh boy. Ricky stuck in the cage match with Terra. Does not walk out.
So now, Fate of the World's used for Dinks. They have the Invisible Boundary for Harvey, though, so everyone's going to stay on up. Here comes the Fist, farming some more ult, just waiting, building up for another one. They're going to find him on the wall, too. And now, Shikigami, I mean, they're just back against the wall. It's 92%. They're going to force more ults out. They're going to lose someone else on the flank, potentially.
They lose a Madian. TTK with the finish. Terra with the help. Ultimate going to be popped here. Iron Fist looking to seal the deal. There's 100 Thieves right now. Making it look real easy, 94%, nearly there as Terra hunts down the back line, while the front line being held down by Vinny and the rest of the 100 Thieves crew. Overtime ticking on down, and Avast, this has looked dominant thus far.
And this is actually such a fun strategy from 100 Thieves, because when that Luna Protect comes out, and you know you can ban the Namor, and you know that you've also already gotten rid of the Loki and the Adam Warlock, okay, you've removed all the threats. I mean, you look at this, and he's just a menace. Iron Fist is a menace in this situation. What does the backline do? Like, okay, your Invisible Woman can get away, can press that space, go invisible, try to back on out. But your Luna Snow, all she can do is maybe try to hit the Cryo Heart, like get on out, hit the snowball, and skate away. And it's just so hard. So the pressure brought on from Terra there on the Iron Fist is just disgusting. I mean, 22 with one death.
They forced the magic, right? That is the impact that Terra has in a game. Taking over, dominating your backline, punching your vanguards in the face. What do you do against it, ZP? Shikigami has to figure it out. And I don't think they figured they'd have to ban Iron Fist coming into tonight.
I don't think you ban Iron Fist. I think you ban Hela, because I think part of this works because you have this weird dynamic where you can't really properly focus on the Iron Fist if you're worried about arguably the best Hela in the game just taking you down from afar. It's too many distractions, too many threats. I think if you ban the Hela, you make it easier to deal with the Iron Fist, put more focus on the Iron Fist, and not lose 3 people in the neutral to Delina. That's how I would approach it here. I think you just kind of tip your hat, you ban the Hela, and I don't think the Iron Fist even gets played at that point.
That was just domination. That's game number 1 in the books. As we take a look at some of the highlights, reminder, that is the first ever single melee 3K coming out of TTK. Fantastic Vanguard to watch moving forward. He and Vinny going to be doing the dirty work while Delina and Terra get all of the glory. Also, Avast, we don't talk about strategists enough. How good have SJP and Harvey been?
exceptionally good. There's a reason 100 Thieves have been at the top. I mean, they finally had that first major loss for them in an MRC to Sentinel. So they have looked exceptionally good across the board. I mean, you see them following up their SJP, especially when you're playing Luna Snow, something that's so important for every person on the field here in Marvel Rivals, but in particular for your strategists, how to use your cooldowns, right? How to use your cooldowns to support your team, and you see SJP supporting there with that shift that cleaves through both enemy and friend alike, so they're getting a ton of value there, especially when Terra went to the backline. So you're healing Terra, you're cleaving the enemy with the shift, and that's something that, you know, only very, very good players know. Let's commit that right now. And that's what's so important here when you have a strategist line, and what makes this overall team world class is having players that look so good across the roles, including the strategist role, which despite what the TikTok comments will say, the YouTube comments will say, is like, oh, the strategist, it's such an easy role. It's so brain dead, right? Wrong. The best strategists are typically going to be make or break for a lot of the best teams in the world.
Absolutely. Alt management is going to be key throughout this NA final. Once again, if you're just joining us, this is Rivals Fight Night. This is round 6, meaning you have missed the previous 5 rounds. If you did, head over to our YouTube for clips like this. Terra has shown us his Winter Soldier, his Star-Lord, his Wolverine. Tonight, showcasing the Iron Fist, and of course, TTK. Let you know, Magneto ain't going nowhere going into Season 2.
Yeah, I think Magneto certainly going to be here to stay, but I think here for 100 Thieves too, some people might look at this and go like, oh, are they trolling with the Iron Fist? I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think this is legitimately, they got punched in the mouth a little bit in the MRC, and now as a team, they're looking for other options to deepen the repertoire, and they realized, hey, this actually can work. And, you know, for Shikigami, I don't think they had any idea this was coming.
Well, you're also probably trying to figure out how to play against Triple Vanguard in the future. Can Iron Fist work in that environment, or is he really just a guy that goes after squishies of Avast? He's not in any of my lobby.
Not in this patch. However, Season 2, they are changing his attacks where they're doing a higher percentage of max health damage now versus like a flat amount. So
Wolverine
technically
style.
he is getting better. Yes, exactly. Wolverine style. He's getting better versus Vanguards as we head into Season 2. Right now, we're still on Season 1. You don't want to be playing Iron Fist into a Triple Vanguard. So, I mean, that is a potential rebuttal to that composition if they want to go that strat. I mean, Shikigami, they did play a lot of Triple Vanguard in their previous matchup that we just saw. So there's a chance if they want to mitigate that. But I think if 100 Thieves, they have to be feeling pretty confident that, like, we can take you off of other comps. We don't have to play Iron Fist to do a Triple Vanguard.
ZP, I've seen some terrible fans in a lot of different sports, but Watermelon Milk may be the worst. He says, maybe this $1,000 ego boost lets us beat Sentinels next time. LOL. He says us, as if he's playing, as if he's on the team.
Bro thinks he's on the team.
Bro thinks he's on the team, makes a little giggle to himself in my chat, and he doesn't even put that blue crown to use. Once again, primes are free. Go ahead, put them to use while we get in these bans.
Well, what I'm going to see here is like, what is going to be of use of the bans? Why does Shikigami change their strategy? Do they bend the knee and ban the Iron Fist? I don't think that'll be the case. Instead, they take it down the Luna. So we'll see what change-ups happen here, if they decide to take down the Hell or not. But protect-wise, it may not change from what we've seen in the past where they decide, you know what, we want to play the group. We are actually afraid that Vinny will get the group banned.
Okay, sure. But with Adam Warlock being banned and Luna Snow, that still means that those are two, especially because Namor he's not banned, but he's not going to be nearly as strong. Like, there still is a potential for dive, especially, like, it's still theoretically possible. It won't be a triple strategist dive. I mean, Rocket Raccoon's out, so you're going to have, like, infinite grit possibilities to give a lot of damage to build the CYA. So these next two bans are pretty important in terms of, like, okay, are we going to see another potentially, you know, very off meta-y feel? I mean, Invisible Woman, that's another character that is, I mean, it's just as good as like Loki, where they're pretty strong in the anti-dive, and overall probably the best overall strategist currently. So that's a pretty big ban for 100 Thieves. I mean, that kind of opens up a lot of potential opportunities.
All right, here we go. Final ban coming through. Last time it was Wolverine, already 3 strategists removed. And they'll make
that's 4 strategists. That's 4 strategists, man.
Okay.
So this tells me something. They're ready to square up on a Winter Soldier or a Punisher potentially, or they just feel good enough with their Raccoon Cloak and Dagger of Vast. What are we about to see?
I mean, you could see that. You could see the full DPS backline of Mantis Raccoon. You could see, I mean, God forbid the single strategist? Probably not. I mean, it's whatever it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: Jeff stocks went up. I don't think we're gonna see Jeff.
Yeah, I don't think it would be Jeff.
Go up. I mean,
you could play like it would be interesting because like if the triple strategist there, like Jeff does give you. We've also on this particular map, Symbiotic Surface or Resurgence, we have seen Jeff played before. Remember ZP? We've seen Jeff played to kind of like go for flanks. And
but as a DPS, not as a strategist, really.
Not a strategist, but it's like more of a duelist that occasionally heals.
We have broken 200 subs. New emotes have been enabled. Thank you to Cintron26. Thank you for the 5 gifted.
To stop them from securing the mission area.
And what a way, the ring in the match with the gifted here. And what's it going to be? That's right. You're going off the Cloak and Dagger. You're not coming in here as main support, Jeff. But the Cloak Rocket strategist game here, Avast, with the Squirrel Girl as Terra.
Yeah.
Is just, just playing a little mystery heroes.
I mean, look at the damage, though. I mean, it does a lot of that. They're going to find Delina pretty early. Still, BRB going to be up. So they're pretty much hoping here to play some poke, maybe farm up, that Squirrel Tsunami extremely early here for 100 Thieves. So it's just playing that poke gameplay because when you have a rocket on the field, yes, you have a res, but you definitely have a little bit less sustain.
Oh. And you're gone. And you're absolutely gone. It's like, haha, Hella, I've rooted you. I don't care, says Hella. Just absolutely eradicates the Squirrel Girl in turn. So good hold right now from Shikigami. We'll see if 100 Thieves does a change up. And I mean, part of it, Avast has been really nice gameplay so far from Amadian.
Amadian playing the flanks incredibly well, playing these high grounds. And when you're playing a Squirrel Girl, right? When a Squirrel Girl's up on the field, you don't have a Winter Soldier to also help you kind of fight the flanks here. Hella is a really good matchup into Squirrel Girl. You have the extra mobility, you have that pinpoint damage, you have the burst. But here's where it gets interesting because there's a CYA, there's a Squirrel Tsunami up, there's no strategists up for Shikigami. This could be a very, very devastating moment.
All right, get ready. The unstoppable Squirrel Tsunami coming on over. A little bit of bouncy bounce. And Krasmang has none of it. Krasmang says no. With it in combination with the Kraken Impact of Days, they're not playing any Squirrel Girl games, is what's going on right now, Vast.
I think the great Squirrel Girl experiment is over. I think they've tried. They tried to make it work. I mean, you got some ults out of Shikigami, so I think all things considered, you got to be happy you got rid of Krasmang's ult there. You got rid of the Strangling Prison. You made sure to get rid of the CYA. So this is pretty nice. I mean, also on top of the Kraken Impact. So they swapped over to Punisher, which, still not a Winter Soldier, but give it a little bit more consistent value potentially. You'll have an ult to also break it open there when you pop that final execution, that final judgment rather, especially when you combine it with damage boost.
100 Thieves is in the hole, though, as far as ultimate economy is concerned, at least a little bit here. So we'll see how this one pans out. Shikigami, a lot of ways of winning this one economically. And Delina's just on a very long flank right now, Vaz. This is the, Delina on a mission. Meanwhile, the frontline battle is going on. TTK, Meteor M, looking into the backline, drops it. No eliminations off that. 100 Thieves, dropping the cloak ult. Now Shikigami, though, still at good HP. Delina getting pressured in turn, has finished the flank. Now Madian going to be dropping Goddess of Death, and not an ideal sightline here, as it turns out.
I mean, this is an extremely non-ideal sightline. So I mean, the point of view, you're the spider on my wall. So right now, I mean, you're just going to be seeing Madian going here for the flank again. Delina still in the backline, causing chaos. Going to be forced to use the Goddess of Death as Vinny gets one, and this might be the opening they need.
Well, Krasmang's backing up the BRB, and Madian immediately punches Delina post-ult. So Shikigami still finding a way to stay in this fight. Infinite Grit, Terra doing most of it. Bullet v Forest is what's going on here. Final Judgment now active, looking for the burn down, gonna get it, taking down Scatter Genji as 100 Thieves now work their way into the point. And I do wonder if things are a little bit different with a slightly more on point Goddess of Death from
potentially,
Shikigami.
but even still, for 100 Thieves, you look at that fight, the Punisher makes a lot of sense. You get another burst ult, you get that team up there from the Rocket Raccoon, and you make sure to just set up with Vinny. I mean, it's once again Groot being the setup, making sure you string the prisons to just allow your duelists to get value, maybe even sometimes your Magneto, as this high ground contest is going to happen very quickly for 100 Thieves, setting up the turret, saying, okay, we're going to build Normandy, here it comes. I hope you're ready, Omaha Beach.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to storm on through. Tear up the turret, just another thing that Shikigami is going to have to deal with here. And Not the worst damage coming on in from the approach. I mean, you take a look, it actually is slowing the contest of the convoy right now, Vest.
Well, it's because it's threatening, right? Because they want to get around these sight lines. They don't necessarily want to have to fight that high ground directly, or at least they want to get a little bit closer. And so they're going to go for the long rotation. They're going to try to LOS the majority of that turret here. But 100 Thieves now, because of that contest, they have a lot of high ground control. They can point. They put a lot of different damage from a lot of different angles.
Got to look
That's
at
a good
here.
terror.
Meteor M is good to go. 100 Thieves all stacked up. This has been the time. Meteor M going to come out first in case from TTK. Does not connect. Meanwhile, Shikigami holding on to his own. Meteor M in from Shikigami. Squishes Rocket in the back. And Amadian cleaning up on the sides as Shikigami have asked. Finding their footing here on second.
And that is one of the downsides here for when you're playing this Punisher composition, is that they're not going to be nearly as strong at taking these flanks on average. So I will say, the shotgun damage from Terra, it's doing a lot, but they're not going to be as strong fighting these flanks, right? They're going to have less support for Delina because they're just not going to have someone else to help them fight there. You're not going to be having hooks. There's a lot more pressure overall for the picks to fight for these flanks when you look at Shikigami's composition right now, as Strangling Prison out pretty early from Crazemang.
Days, Kraken Impact 1 and 2 and 3. Again, staggering out the Thieves, making the second point defense quite good, getting the hit at the very end. And now, I mean, you look at this is actually quite troublesome for 100 Thieves. Only 1 minute left. Final fight to get through second coming on up.
Now they do have a final judgment. I mean, they can save bubbles. They can try to split some of Shikigami with the walls here from Vinny too, but there's no Stratusol, right? They don't have Stratusol, and they had to use a bubble early for the hook. Now there isn't going to have that Bionic hook up yet for days, but still not going to necessarily be an insta fight win here when you look at this final judgment coming up for Terra. But Delina still holding on to Gods of Death, fighting for the flank.
Gods of Death is immediately grounded. Just the whole squad is there, just shooting it on down. Meanwhile, Crazemang dying for a heal. Shikigami a little bit behind on heal economy right now. Skaragenji getting punished. Final judgment out for 100 Thieves as Terra comes off the high ground. Skaragenji down. Still has good sightline. Still getting healed. 100 Thieves. One player advantage here so far. TTK building up Meteor M mid-fight. Good to let it rip. Vinny with the prison. TTK now coming in with the Meteor M over the top of Crazemang, able to take down Terra in the interim. Shikigami staying in the fight. A CYA about to be dropped here. And Avast in the neutral, they might have done it. Crazemang strangling prison, going to be dropped. His fall through going to be there for Shikigami as they try and stop 100 Thieves here and now. Meanwhile, Cloak Ult going to be coming out, keeping 100 Thieves nice and healthy here, Avast, as the fight continues.
I mean, pretty hard though, because they did have that Cloak and Dagger ult, but Scatterginji going down, fighting another. I mean, the sustain not enough for 100 Thieves. Shikigami looking very, very strong here. I think they're going to be cleaning up, going to be holding, and a bit of experimentation for 100 Thieves, I'd say. I mean, it's some interesting compositional choices. I mean, also with Cloak and Dagger back, that's something we really haven't seen a ton of since, you know, some early games. You know, it's been all Invisible Woman all the time. A lot of Loki. So these strategist lines are making teams have to think a little bit differently with how their engages are. It just feels very different. Feels like early rivals again.
I do wonder if there's a dynamic here though, where, you know, these teams are very practiced, right? But is there a dynamic where if you come into a match and you feel like maybe you're the weaker team, that just shifting to a completely foreign meta by, you know, basically going, oh, you ban a strategist? We'll ban a strategist, and you just continue to ban out all the strategists that are normally played to the point that you're almost playing a different game than either of these teams might have practiced coming in.
I mean, there's a reason they call it cheese, right? Cheese has been existing in esports for a very long time. Not saying this is necessarily cheese from Shikigami, but rather just the ability to catch someone unaware, right? It's like a central tenet, especially if it's someone that maybe you don't necessarily feel super comfortable playing. And, you know, I talked about it earlier, we are on the cusp of that of season 2 coming out, so it's going to be potentially a very big meta shift coming out. So it's a time to let's try some new stuff. Let's see what might work, what might not work. Just start getting start getting handles on it a tad. All of those are possibilities.
Terra reminds me of that kid who just isn't afraid to experiment or get hurt going off to BMX ramps. He's trying it all. He's kind of thinking about what could work, and then he's putting it into play. He's been one of the entertaining players to watch. On the other side, I thought we were going to see a Scarlet Witch. Dinks is coming out with the Old Faithful.
Nope, just a little bit of Metallic Fusion. The Metallic Fusion send-off, because you're not going to see it tomorrow. It's gone. Last chance to see it is here on Rivals Fight Night, or perhaps your own pub games. But here we go. Shikigami on the attack. They had a great defense, but it won't mean anything unless they can kick things off by getting this first point. Skaragenji working on the outskirts right now. A little bit low, getting healed up just in time. Daze nearly getting chunked down by Delina, just barely staying alive. The neutral so important. Both Hellas looking to make their mark known right now. Shikigami, though, still under heavy pressure, almost getting burned down. Bubbles himself just in time to back off and take a breather, but it comes at a cost as Daze gets caught.
Oh, the focus fire there onto the front line. 100 Thieves just make it, not giving them any space. And because of that, the back line here, this flank plays that are coming out, just not able to make any space for Shikigami because they're just not able to put any pressure on the point. Their vanguards are getting burned down so successfully. Vinny, TTK doing a great job there to mitigate their own damage, keep the pressure on, which means that Shikigami's flanks have a lot less room to be effective.
All right, so a minute 20 burned off the clock. 100 Thieves looking quite solidified as now Shikigami take their second crack at it. Hellas important the watch right now between Delina and Amadian. So often they can decide the fight before an ultimate is even used. Is Delina right now dodging a little bit of poke, finding a way in, moving on forward and just shooting down the hall. Meanwhile, Shikigami, they are good to move on in with double strategist ult. See where they set it up right now. Vast, it's been a very long setup this time around.
Well, I mean, this point in particular, this first point here for Symbiotic Resurgence is just, it's a very flank-heavy point. As you see, ult's getting invested, looking for anything, trying to find a pick.
Meteor M used by TTK does not connect. Both teams still at full strength. Krasmang has a Strangling Prison good to go. Looking for the right opportunity to land it here with Shikigami. Krasmang falls after the prison goes down, but this Meteor M may make it worthwhile. Looking and waiting is Shikigami, tries to thread the needle and does not connect. 100 Thieves still looking good. Goss of Death now going to be used by Delina. Following up what TTK sets up. And that, Avast, is going to be even more time burned.
An expensive fight, a very expensive fight. You see, just they fight for the flanks. The ults get traded. Much better ult trading there for 100 Thieves too. They get some late value out of Vinny's Strangling Prison. So Terra holds on to the Kraken Impact. They didn't use it there because the Goss was out. They already had those picks. So there's two Kraken Impacts on the field. There are no strategist ults. There'll be a Goss Death Shikigami as well. So there's a chance here you go in, force some cooldowns early using one of your dual ult, then set up the Kraken Impact for the next, maybe vice versa. This is Shikigami's chance to make something happen, knowing you have that advantage. Well, never mind.
They lose Crossbang immediately. Just when you think you might set something up, well, guess what? It's not going to happen. Terra, meanwhile, getting 2 resets here on the Kraken Impact, looking for even more. Off to the side being, you're just hovering here in the side. Let me help you back to spawn.
Wait, they ulted.
Gets another.
Daze ulted. Daze ulted.
Oh.
He ulted trying to maybe either, I mean, ideally maybe try to find someone in the spawn. Now the Kraken Impact is off the field. It's gone. They have late staggers. We're in a last fight territory here for Shikigami. All they have is a Goddess of Death. Now, in return, 100 Thieves don't really have anything, but they're pretty close to several ults.
They can slow play this a little bit for Shikigami. I mean, 20 seconds is enough time to at least set up. You don't have to worry about a last second touch in the same way. But really, when you're playing Hella versus Hella, you want to get something out of Amadian here, if at all possible. We're looking at the flank angle as Amadian comes on in. It may just be a Goss of Death to try and get things opened up as, you know, Shikigami nearly going down at the beginning. Dinks may have to just open up here with the Cloak ult. But here we go. We are in overtime. They must commit. They get Terra early. Huge pickoff for Amadian. Followed up the Goss of Death. The old 1-2. TTK, though, dropping the Meteor M in turn. Nice little movement on the other end to avoid it. Is Shikigami not done here just yet? 100 Thieves was close to the first point hold. Dinks, though, on the Vinny. And Amadian on the follow-through. Avast, they might have just done it.
I mean, that's exactly what they needed to happen. Amadian had to take that aggressive flank angle using the Astral Flock to cross, mitigate the damage, put the pressure on, get one pick, and immediately pop the Goss of Death. It's something like when you know there's a neutral fight, you have to play your advantages, and typically who's the one getting the picks, who's the one open up, it's typically going to be your Hella player. And that's what they needed out of Amadian to break first point open. But 100 Thieves, I mean, that's a lot of time burned off the clock. They're going to have some ults on the bank. My cat is scratching my legs. Goodbye, cat. Thank you.
Well, your cat right now is just trying to give you incentive. It's just like, yes,
some urgency.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, look, there's a big, even Puckett's burned, but here we go. Terra off the Kraken Impact. Finds Daze early on the fight. BRB, though, means it's not over yet. However, Delina says, yeah, enough of that. Deals with the raccoon. And now, minute 30 left, but this is a little bit dangerous here, Avast, because Shikigami doesn't need to go that far to rip this map away from 100 Thieves.
No, I mean, they know their fight. They know their win condition. They know their win condition. They just need to build to the perfect fight, ideally for them. They don't want to overinvest. They want to keep fights cheap, burn something out of 100 Thieves, look for picks, win a flank. Right now, though, this is one of the harder parts here because you just need to get to a flank. You need to get some space here where you're not walking down the corridor of death for Shikigami. So they need to just try to open it up.
You know, and nothing opens up like a good Meteor M. Shikigami has been the hero so many times for Shikigami here today. What a world it would be if he's able to just land that one magic meteor one more time. Moving on forward to Shikigami. Final minute, perhaps their best opportunity to send this map in their favor. And for now, just dealing with the poke game. Krasbitmang nearly gone. Building up towards the prism right now. Shikigami nearly all ultimates up to go. TTK though has had enough. Drops the meteor. Slam dunk. Days down. And 30 seconds left to go. The BRB though comes back up. The counter engage now in from Shikigami. The meteor M from Shikigami far off the mark.
He tried.
But Krasbitmang drops the prison, gets to Lena. It's Shikigami, still with an option to get this going. Days off the Kraken Impact on the TTK. Now, movement for Shikigami. The Kraken Impact on the other end, not good enough. Ricky, though, falls. Lena was able to find key support on. Wait, they're able to bring it on through.
Yes. Unfortunately, that was just the better setup. I mean, the ults get traded there, but Krasbitmang hits the Strangling Prison, and Days just hits a very meaty Kraken Impact. Those ults get traded, but at the end of the day, unless a pick comes out for the Meteor M, what decides that fight? It's the Kraken Impacts. The Kraken Impacts are how you burn through those ults, how you burn through the mess. It's the setup, the alley-oop from the Groot, and it was just a much better combo from Shikigami.
And it ends up
Shikigami with the map win, ZP. You sounded stunned at the end of that one.
Yeah, a little bit. It looked like it was going to go a little bit longer, but they had just gotten enough progress. It was a little bit ambiguous, maybe even for 100 Thieves of like, okay, how much more do we have to go? They're off the point for a second, and yeah, Shikigami, they've ripped a map away from 100 Thieves, and yeah, okay. Yes, people are going to go, it's like, well, it's unconventional. Look at all the strategists banned. Still, if you woke up today, looked at the tagline for the teams that'd be playing and thought Shikigami was going to get a map off 100 Thieves, most people would go like, nah, that's not going to happen. It just happened, and Amadian, a big reason for that, finding plays here towards the end.
We saw Squirrel Girl officially now in Rivals Fight Night. Thank you, Tara, for that. Then we saw some agains as Days just took to the sky, slam into the ground again and again. A little bit of Punisher came in, and Tara led the lobby with 27,000 damage, but it's the Shikigami teamwork, and honestly, this group play catches my eye every single time. Avast, what did you see in the breakdown?
I mean, I think you called it there a bit. We saw a lot of flexibility. I also have to say, just the Vanguard line in general, Scatter Genji is continuing to get a lot of value here for Shikigami, mitigate some of these combos, make sure to find one. Now, granted, that was not his best moment in that moment, but I do think Shikigami, their overall coordination, in particular working around Krasbitmang, just works. It looks really good. I mean, playing some of these more unconventional comps or maybe 100 Thieves feel a little bit less, you know, a little bit less coordinated, a little bit less practice. It's clearly doing something for them, right? It's definitely providing some sort of value right now. And 100 Thieves, they still look great. They still look a very good team, but yes, Shikigami just pulling out some extremely good coordination.
Fantastic ult management. Madian on the Hella. If you don't ban it, heads are going to be taken. 1-1 after 2. Now it's 100 Thieves pick as we go into map number 3. And honestly, I was starting to think early MVPs. Krasbitmang won it earlier for Shikigami. Has he been the standout? Are you looking at Days at this point of Vast? What are we liking?
I mean, right now it's tough because map 1 didn't look too great. You know, they didn't have
as a team they struggled. Yeah.
Yeah, as a team, right? So it's hard to be like, okay, who do I look for that looked like amazing, right? Not much. I looked at map 2, I'd say, okay, well, Amadian looked great, but guess what? We were just on Symbiotic Resurgence, which is like the Hella map. It's like the Hella map.
Long
like
lanes.
One of the maps. Like, it's tough. If you're not looking good on Hella, then it's actually kind of bad, like, for your team overall. And Amadian looked really good, which is, you know, what they needed. So did Delena. So it's right now kind of neck and neck for me. I don't really have a 100% pick. I'd say if 100 Thieves wins, I would love to give it to Tara just for the Iron Fist way earlier today, but we're just gonna have to see.
It's still very early, and we should have an answer shortly from 100 Thieves of which map we are selecting for a game 3. ZP, can't stop looking. How do you do it?
I know.
How do I do it?
Taking a glance.
Oh, I mean, look, it's just right there. You got to take a look. But look, here's the interesting thing for me as I'm looking at the series as it progressed. There's a little bit of experimentation going on for 100 Thieves in the series, whether it be the Iron Fist, which worked out actually quite well on Domination, into the Squirrel Girl, as we just saw on Symbiotic Surface, that was a little bit more experimental and was eventually just thrown into the garbage in favor of Punisher. I do think for 100 Thieves, if there was an element of like whimsy to this match of going, okay, you know, we can just kind of do whatever here and we'll still win, I think that's been dispelled. I think when you lose a map and you have $1,000 on the line, suddenly the mental does shift a little bit and you go, whoa, 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 we're not going to lose this. So I think we will see the true form of 100 Thieves if they were holding back at all within the first two maps.
Before we move topics, for anyone who hasn't played Squirrel Girl, do it tonight. But before you load in, go into your audio settings, switch it to Mandarin or Japanese. Just trust, once you get that ultimate, peak dopamine on your evening. That, of course, you should do after the next 3 maps, because I have a feeling Shikigami's going to take us to 5. I don't know how they're going to do it, because this is 100 Thieves pick. They opened things up with an Adam Warlock ban. On the other side, Shikigami, well, they're going to say no Luna. Are we going to see 4 strategists removed and going all back to Cloak and Daggers, I've asked?
It's certainly possible. I mean, we look at this right off the bat, especially because, I mean, Hall of Jalia, especially this first point for the defense, it's always such a hard point to crack. And if you remove some of them, okay, they're going to protect Loki. They've said, no more tomfoolery. So Loki being protected does make it, we're probably going to see a little bit more traditional backlines. I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, you know, Invisible Woman Loki, or even, I mean, might be, like, you know, you could see Cloak and Loki, but it's probably going to be Invisible Woman Loki here, unless it's a ban. So, okay, Hella ban for 100 Thieves. Ooh. That's something that typically they like
they're
to have
showing
in the
some
arsenal.
Respect right now to Imadian.
Yeah, I did not expect this at all to come in. Okay, Invisible Woman gonna get banned out turn. Shikigami, I think they're going, hey, we had some success taking out strategists. We're gonna continue to do that. But the fact that Loki is able to come on through does really change how this map is gonna go on relative to the last. But wow, 100 Thieves banning Hela. That I did not expect versus Shikigami. That, you know, it makes sense if you feel like you can win in different ways, where 100 Thieves has had to play without Hela for most of their matches because people don't want to play against Alina's Hela. But for them to be like, no, we're actually good with the no Hela. What a paradigm shift.
As we go to the Hall of Vast, I'm trying to think, what are you copying with your Loki? What is the ultimate to try and take over? Because normally it is that Luna Snow, or it is that Invisible Woman.
I mean, they're probably playing Cloak here, is my guess. I would be pretty shocked if teams weren't going to play Cloak. So it's going to be Cloak and Dagger. They're just going to, I mean, it's, once again, it's feeling very early Marvel Rivals with a lot of Cloak and Dagger play, a lot of that. There's a chance you could see teams like maybe not play the Loki at all. Like you could have a Rocket Raccoon Cloak and Dagger just try to get the CYA, have the BRB value. So Loki might not even come onto the field. They could have done something to pressure Shikigami a bit, to just like throw them, make sure they had the protection on the Loki if necessary. If they felt like maybe they're like it wasn't working out, if they're mirroring the Rocket or something like that. It gives them a little bit more options and flexibility wise. And I mean, right now, I mean, there's no Lokis on the field for either squad anyway, so it's just gonna be Rocket. Oh, I guess that's not true. They're playing triple strategy.
Honestly, I saw Delena is also going to be playing Psylocke, so maybe some butterfly dancing. Maybe I'm just thinking about my plat games. Here we go. ZP on the mic. Take us away.
All right, we got a change up here. We got Delena coming on into the Psylocke, backed up by Harvey on the Loki. We'll see how 100 Thieves handle this first attack. For now, heavy damage going on in the Krasmang. Krasmang need to take a breather, get back onto the high ground. Because both teams looking for an edge in the neutral here so far. Terra, though, falling early, having to get brought back up by the BRB. Shikigami, though, look at Delena. Delena right now on these long setups have asked kind of one of his hallmarks here. You know, waits with the rest of his team, but while he's waiting, Vinny's down, and the rest of Shikigami, they're just diving.
They make sure to also, when they get that pick, they know that Delena's behind, so they move forward. They all walk forward, they knowing there's not a lot of pressure. The Psylocke was looking for the flank. So that's a really good read from Shikigami, because they see the Psylocke, and they know that Psylocke's always going to be looking for flanks, always going to be looking for a pick here on the backline, trying to force you to turn around. So you should essentially counter as like, okay, we know there's a player behind us. We know essentially almost like a player's not here. So we need to push.
So, first fight in the bag. Shikigami ahead. 100 Thieves, though, building up ult-wise, looking for their opportunity. Good poke coming in from Delena on the left-hand side. Shikigami right now staying together as Daze goes down. Terra finishing was set up from the rest of the poke. So Man advantage coming in right now from 100 Thieves, who are absolutely banking up power right now. Nearly every ultimate available. Gonna kick things off with the CYA. And now, Meteor M going to be invested in turn by Shikigami, and Stelino dances the butterfly in the back, deals with Dinks. 100 Thieves really starting to chip away at this point.
I mean, they can give up ticks. Ricky is still behind, and I don't... Do they know? Are they aware that Ricky is, like, behind them still? Yeah, they have to know. Galactic Legend invested for a Madian, but, I mean, they need to get some more people in here.
They lose Shikigami. Galactic Legend completely faded at the end because of the Meteor M. Shikigami continuing to lose players. Now they move back in with 4. They drop the Kraken Impact. Can Daze bring this one back? He thinks so. Gets 1 pick off here so far. Looking for another reset. Actually gets it. It's the backline. It could be huge. Gets another. He's keeping it going, Avast. And now feeding off the Loki clones. The problem is that the point is still capped in the interim, so it's a bit for naught.
Yeah, unfortunately, the dopamine was flowing. The pogs were going, but the point had been capped. The point, it was over, unfortunately. So 100 Thieves moving forward here. They're gonna have 3 ults available. They'll have the copy, and it gets a little weird because you have a Loki, but you have a Rocket Raccoon, so you don't really have a strategist ult that you can like copy here, unless you go for Dinks, right? Unless you confirm that copy onto Dinks. So it's a little funky for Harvey a bit on the Loki. But 100 Thieves, they know they have the ult advantage. They know they can be aggressive, or at least they should know. Might just look for a Strangling Prism to cap it off. I mean, a Maiden's already down.
Yeah, and that's a great pick in the neutral. I mean, the BRB does negate it, but again, you see the position gained off the early pick, and now you gotta be looking more towards Vinny. Vinny, Strangling Prison dropped into the Kraken Impact. Madian down again, this time not gonna be coming on back. Vinny leading the way, 100 Thieves cleaning on up. Point 2 should be done and dusted here, Avast.
And that's just the ult advantage, right? You have the combo, you can immediately win it. And interestingly enough, I even liked how they played it even more. As sure, Atlanta's gonna go down, just getting the pressure, but they're gonna keep chasing. Using the Loki ult, that God of Mischief, to copy SJP and just pop a CYA early, knowing there's no other strategist ults, so you still get max value, right? And you still hold on to that. Though Terra going down a little late, you don't want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, this gives room for Shikigami to set up an economical defense here where 100 Thieves is going to be on the back foot for a moment. Shikigami gets to get any positioning they want. But, speaking of positioning, Lena right now, setting on up. Dance the Butterfly, good to go. Nearly instantly takes down the Cloak. But instead, decides to get out of there. Madian dropping the Galactic Legend in turn, probably because of the dive coming on in. Still looking for a target. Meteor M from TTK negates a lot of it as Terra finds an opening, takes down Krasmang. And 100 Thieves, again, just pecking away at Shikigami. Scatter Genji again, try and bring this back with the Meteor M. Can he do it once more? Takes down Terra, but that may not be enough.
That was a great read from Scatter Genji. I mean, there was so much damage there. Popping the Meteor M absorbs it all, and they're able to chase down Terra, who tried to get that bonus health, tried to use his abilities to cool down to get a little bit of bonus health for the Winter Soldier, but just not enough. Gets caught. Shikigami did a really good job of leapfrogging their ults. Yes, it looked a little bit dicey there at points. The problem there is that it wasn't expensive, and 100 Thieves still have 3 ults on the board.
And Delina right now is getting to the back line, telling his team, I'm getting ready to dance. Head over the back, I got supports on the mind. A dance in my heart. Moves on over, takes down Dinks, and the engage is nothing but beauty.
They commit the God of Mischief there as well for Harvey, but I mean, guarantees the fight win. They have the damage boost to finish on up. They get to move on forward, and guess what they have? The tried and true, the Groot plus Kraken Impact, but a special guest appearance, a Meteor M. Do they dare do the double dump, the double dip here into the Groot? I don't think it's gonna happen. They typically want to save that Meteor M for like later, especially when there's a Galactic Legend on the field, but there's a chance.
Well, all eyes on Vinny, who's gonna be put in prison, and his Bucky coming in to deliver the justice right on after. Is Vinny looks for the options here. Prison ready to go. Drops the prison, pulls in at least 2. Here comes Hero in
what
on
a
top.
good
Like
wall.
dropped in turn. Meteor M from TTK is huge. Ends up with 2, and it's not entirely as expected, but it does work for the Thieves.
They had to double dunk. They had to double dunk, ZP. It was the only way. And guess why they had to double dunk?
Oh no!
His what?
The card just goes forward. Meteor M is just like fear Magneto as he does not touch the point.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the fight was over.
Yeah.
The fight was
Yeah,
over.
it was.
Like it was definitely done. I mean, a little bit of a misplay, but I mean, I have to glaze a little bit because they had to drop both ults in the combo there because Crazy Vang, guess what he did? He blocked the Kraken impact with his wall. There was no culling effect that went out. Blocked it entirely, so they had to drop TTK's Meteor M. So I have to call it out again. I have to look at it and be like, wow, that's nice. That's real nice. But it was a really good setup from 100 Thieves. It looked really, really good. And I mean, I love the tempo, honestly, because oftentimes it's tough to play like the Loki Rocket Raccoon because once again, you have no mitigation ults, right? You have no mitigation strategist ults. You really just have the regeneration domain, which to be fair, is really, really strong. It's almost an ult in terms of its strength. It might be the best cooldown of the game. Yeah, it might be the best cooldown of the game, potentially.
As it turns out in games, anything that anyone like calls a lamp for shorthand, actually mini ult. Just some things never change. But yeah, I mean, you take a look at it. I mean, Shikigami had their moments in the last fight, but completing this map is not at all guaranteed. So, you know, the Shikigami attack definitely has a lot to live up to here, to say the least, because again, you might not even get the very first point, but we'll see what they run out with here.
I would love to see some more tomfoolery, some more interesting plays here. Shikigami, I mean, so Wolverine's back out. They have Days on the Wolverine again. They're going to put Dinks over to the Loki. There's really... I can't remember we've seen that much Loki Dinks really at all throughout tonight.
No,
they're going to have it now.
The Loki, kind of a new look for Shikigami, at least with Dinks on it, relative to what they've preferred for most of the night. See if this one pans out, though. Obviously, you run a Wolverine comp. All eyes are on the Wolverine. The Wolverine, the big mover and shaker for getting things done. So we'll see if Daze is able to find room. Meanwhile, Delina just continuing to be right into the back line. Amadian, though, the hook on the Vinny Avast. Now, the BRB gets him back into the fray, but look at all the positioning now being gained right now by Shikigami. Able to head onto the point, but the poke from Terra, actually huge over the top, nearly gets a pick off. Has already built Kraken Impact. Might just say, let's go. But instead, going on a longer flank right now, giving up a little bit more room to Shikigami. Ricky dropping the cloak off. Shikigami trying to get a vital pick right now. They still can't find it, but now they finally do. Amadian able to get on the Delina, and Terra is down. Can't find a chance to let the impact like loose.
I mean, I love it. I love it, the aggression. The fight's, though, still going on. Meteor M for TTK. Can he find one? He does. He finds Dinks. That's big. They're still alive. Very a lot of damage. I mean, Vinny getting caught by the Wolverine, though. There's the Wolverine. He has so much rage. He has an ult. Oh no.
Yeah, well, imagine the world if Wolverine ever tried therapy. You know, just be a
I mean, he just wouldn't be nearly as good.
Yeah,
definitely wouldn't be nearly as good. And I love the attack there for Shikigami, using those rocket packs, those jump packs, to allow an early isolation, force out the BRB, take a lot of positioning, and because of that, then Ricky gets a really, just can drop, or rather Dinks can get the copy of the God of Mischief, go for the Cloak and Dagger copy, just ult into them, force all that damage, force all that positioning out of 100 Thieves. And the aggression with the he's done it again.
Abduction.
He's done it again.
Oh,
they're gonna trade
also. Yeah, I actually think that trade, you're actually happier with 100 Thieves. Like, you could lose Delina and then save TTK. I think you're actually good with that scenario. Still, though, winnable fight for both sides. Madian right now, getting ready. Meanwhile, Kraken Impact in from Terra, trying to set the tone here for the Thieves. Instead, has to back out, not getting the resets as normal, and might go the way of Shikigami right now as this prison comes on out. Terra, though, able to punish Daze in turn. TTK on the Krasmang. Thieves somehow staying alive, even as the Kraken Impact comes in off the Loki resets. 100 Thieves only down one right now as they withstand the impact.
I mean, that was some incredibly good peel from Scatter Genji. I mean, they go for the really late, aggressive final one of those Kraken Impact to Scatter Genji. Solo, gonna go down late. And now, Shikigami, they're on the back foot here, CP. Yeah, there's still a lot of time left in the bank, but look at the opening. 100 Thieves to 5. They put swapped over Delina to the Star-Lord, which into the Wolverine. I really like the swap. The Star-Lord here, there's not a lot that can contest the Star-Lord outside of the Winter Soldier. You know, the Magneto can look at him a little bit. Loki can look at him a little bit. Like, this just gives a lot of free pressure here for Delina, and the options just pop Galactic Legends at will.
Well, also, it's gonna, like, put a timer on when Genji can actually use,
the Meteor,
yeah. You're basically locked into just a constant trade with Galactic Legend. This is how that usually pans out. Shikigami trying to make their move. Daze moving in, and now Galactic Legend used by Delina. Gonna get the Meteor M out of Scatter Genji, who drops into the back line for nothing. So the trade out, pretty effective for 100 Thieves. God of Mischief used right now by Harvey. Cloak ult in reserve. 100 Thieves, a lot of resources here. They take down Daze, and now Vast, they can just walk it forward.
And that's exactly what we're going to be doing there. There's going to be some more cleanup limbs just right here. Maybe a little bit of staggering. No, there's like, no, actually, we're not going to be staggering. So 100 Thieves holding here. They still are going to be holding on to the Cloak and Dagger ult. They're going to have that Eternal Bond. They'll have a Meteor Rim. They'll have a Kraken Impact. So there's no immediate combo here, right? 100 Thieves has to be a little bit wary of Crazy Ming. About to have a Strangling Prison. They're going to have a combo from a Medium. There's really a lot on the board that they can combo with currently. If I look to 100 Thieves, pretty much the role here, the goal is we need to stay alive through the combo, and maybe we need to make an aggressive play. But Delana getting pressured so early.
Yeah, he just got poked out. He went way too far on the neutral, and Shikigami.
There's no rocket, by the way. No rocket Raccoon, no BRB.
Yeah, they can just walk forward. They got the 6-on-5 advantage. That is a go signal for Wolverine, who does not get the grab there. Was looking to bring a tank with him. Does not quite happen. Still, advantage Shikigami. Can they make the most of it? Can they add an extra elimination on top of this to get down second? TTK says no. Meteor M dropped. Doesn't get the pick off immediately, but it's enough to take down Krasbank in the end. Kraken Impact now from Terra, looking to solidify the advantage. Gets one reset, looking for more. Drops down in the back, and that may be it. Shikigami able to back on out. They punish Terra in turn. The resets weren't what they wanted. Galactic Legend though from Delina into the back, into the fight once more. Off the neutral pick. Meteor M out from Scout. Takes down Delina midair. That's a slam dunk if I've ever seen one. As Shikigami stay alive.
I mean, anti-aircraft hoop. That is crazy, especially because Daze did not get anything with the last stand. Wait, that hook was incredible from Terra. Now they have the Cloak and Dagger roll here on the board. They have that Eternal Bond. They have a lot of sustain. Shikigami, they need to find anything. Luckily, Dink's gonna keep them up a bit longer.
Another hook! And this time, they're getting the Wolverine. No, Wolverine just leaps away, nearly getting snatched as Terra's magnetic hands continue to wreak havoc here on the second point. 100 Thieves staying alive. You even got Vinny on the quick swap over to the thing. As Shikigami now, 44 seconds left. They get Terra in the neutral. Big pick from Scatter Genji. Now moving forward. 6-on-5 once more for Shikigami. They're in this position before 100 Thieves was able to stand. Can they do it more time? No, not looking like it. TTK down as a Median now on the Winter Soldier swap, saying, I can shout out again too.
Reached a checkpoint. Keep the momentum.
So Shikigami getting the hold. I mean, what a crucial pick from Scatter Genji. Actually removing Delina there, hitting that insane Meteor Rim, really did remove a lot of the pressure out of the field. A lot of the damage there for 100 Thieves allowed Shikigami to stay in, to continue to fight. So Shikigami close to another last stand. They know there's not going to be another strategy ult just yet for 100 Thieves. So TTK needs to stay bubbles. So here comes Daze, looking for the abduction.
Daze, oh, it looks good. You get the Magneto at half HP, you send him to the Nether Realm. Quick pick from Shikigami. 6-on-5 now, as Daze still is the last stand, ready to go wild here on the Wolverine. The only problem here for Shikigami is I think 100 Thieves can just back out a little bit. Oh, hang on.
Uh-oh.
Goes on in. No, did not get the grab.
They lost him in the fog. They lost him in the fog. The fog's done it again. From software, you've done it again. So now, here they come. 100 Thieves. Just gonna be coming on forward. 6 ults in the bank here, ZP. 6 ults in the bank. So a lot of pressure here on the Daze to see what can happen. And the answer is nothing. Get nothing to happen.
I mean, his rage bar should have went to max because he should be mad at that ult himself. Meanwhile, TTK drops Dinks in the backline. Meteor M connecting. Delina, casual blaster barrage over the convoy. I mean, it's nearly at the point. 100 Thieves just barely touched in time. Shikigami, 30 seconds remaining. They will get one more crack at this, Avast, to take the lead over 100 Thieves, or at least keep the option open of taking the lead.
A swap for Terra onto a counter Wolverine. I like that because it's interesting across the board for multiple reasons. One, it pressures Shikigami to potentially, if they're sending one for cart, what if you take him out? It puts extra pressure onto the backline as well because you have to be worried about the Wolverine dive. Maybe force out a strategy ult pretty early. It's a very interesting play there for 100 Thieves because Shikigami's ult bank is pretty strong.
Take a look at Median. Has the Kraken Impact good to go. 100 Thieves right now getting forced back a little bit. There's a window of opportunity. Gets a hook onto a Loki clone. Now resets, moves in, gets Vinny immediately. A Median cracking 100 Thieves like a walnut right now. Impact after impact. And we might be going to some extra time after all as Shikigami completes the map.
3, 2,
Amadian looking really good, and Shikigami in general with some hero plays. I think honestly at points there looked like 100 Thieves were gonna hold some very, very big hero plays coming out. I mean, that Meteor Rim is gonna be in my mind just for a long time. It's gonna be in my mind for a long time there, and it's close. It's definitely still very winnable, especially with a great push here with a minute. It's extremely doable here. So you look at the 100 Thieves and you say, like, do we make a swap? Do we think that defense is good enough as it was, right? Do we make any swaps across the board for comp wise? Does Shikigami continue to try to play with the Wolverine? Because it definitely seemed like, especially when combined with the Cloak and Daggers, so you're using that Cape of Terror to put the vulnerability on the player that you capture, bring into the rest of your team. You can just kind of burst them down even through the bulwarks, through those bubbles for Magneto.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, for 100 Thieves, unlike the previous two maps where they were, going a little bit off the script in terms of, okay, what's strong, what do you run, etc. It felt like more 100 Thieves at full strength, and they're still getting pushed to the limit. Now, let's be clear, 100 Thieves are still working with a pretty big advantage in this point, but as we saw in our first series of the day, if Shikigami is able to get the first point within the minute they have allotted, you can just keep it going. You can have a long overtime push in Marvel Rivals. So a lot of this map just gonna come down to what does this first push look like now from Shikigami. 1 minute to go, not much time.
More of the same for them. So they're just playing. They're continuing to play with this comp. They're hoping to get a pick, hoping to find someone with the Wolverine. Try to build some ults pretty quickly. 100 Thieves, I mean, they're mirroring. They're playing the same comp. They're just choosing, like, if you want to play a Wolverine, we'll pull out our Wolverine. We're both gonna put that pressure out there.
Wolverine the Wolverine, 100 Thieves making the adaptation. Shikigami looking for this first fight. Good poke into the neutral. Vinny getting real low here off the rip. Is Vinny gonna go down? They sense blood in the water. Vinny's down! Krasbang able to grab him as a long pull coming on in. Again, Krasbang out of the fight. Wolverine looking to finish off that tree. Meanwhile, Madian able to take down TTK in the chaos. And Avast, it might be happening again. History may be repeating itself from earlier in the day. Shikigami, they're gonna get their overtime push.
What a good find. Again, the walls from Crazy Mang allowing the pick to come out too. Doesn't get caught. I mean, so you see the value of just making sure that you save those cooldowns, have the rocket packs available to get on out. So 100 Thieves looking to set for the next fight. Relatively close to the Kraken impact. They do have a little bit of advantage there for Delena. But already, Daze on the flank, looking to chop through the wall. Here comes Johnny. Does he find one?
Daze over and in. Picks up Vinny. Sends Vinny right back to spot the aid of Scattered Genji. Shikigami keeping the momentum rolling forward. We are in overtime, but this convoy, there's no breaks.
Oh, he's still so angry too. He's looking for more. Doesn't get it again though, and Amadian gonna go down.
That's dangerous here. Remember, they lose one fight. The overtime push is done. Terra, meanwhile, ripping and tearing himself. Daze over and in though. Wolverine versus Wolverine. Harvey with the god of mischief coming on in. Drop the cloak ult. Daze still swinging away. Meteor M now in from Scattered Genji. Can he do it one more time? No. Krasbang down in turn. Terra finally able to chop down the tree as 100 Thieves getting a little bit more stability here in the moment. Terra just trying to clean it up. Shikigami though still with options. Last stand still up here from Daze. Delena though maybe has had enough. Drops the Kraken impact. It's not going to be enough. Instead, it's Kraken impact in from Amadian, who's back into the fight. No resets there either as Daze goes down. Shikigami drained on ultimates right now. Neutral versus neutral on both sides. Amadian, though, able to take down Delena, and it's looking more blue than red right now on the convoys somehow. Shikigami is keeping it going.
What a hook from Amadian. Ricky there as well, just keeping everyone up, getting so much value from the vulnerability there, from that Cape of Terror, and now they're still in this fight. They're still at this point, and Crazy Mang, 80% to Eye of Agamotto. There's no strategy ult. They need to do something now for 100 Thieves. They need to get at least the God of Mischief up, because Crazy Mang might be able to drop something huge here in this fight.
I think Krasbang's about to see the future where he goes in the 100 Thieves backline and ruins them. The Eye of Agamotto nearly here, the invisible boundary. Buying time, Krasbang low, going into the back, goes down! He didn't see the timeline at all, Vaz! They take him on down before the Eye can be dropped. The focus fire from the Thieves, letting them in the fight. However, he's back in, drops the Eye of Agamotto after all. He just had the die to come right back on in. Sets up Amadian off the Kraken impact. Delena is down, but so is Krasbang. It doesn't result in a ton of resets here. 100 Thieves, they drop the Strangling Prison now in from Vinny, and Vinny has had enough. 3 off the prison, and the push ends here.
Okay, I have to ask production, if you somehow can, find the clip of that fight where you see Scattered Genji going for the Meteor M post Eye of Agamotto. I need to see how that did not get 3. Because I'm almost certain that should, like, something had that, there had to be an insane play come through to block that Meteor M from Scattered Genji, because I think that was just one of the point. There was 3 people stunned. They caught them in the Eye of Agamotto post ult. He drops it. Everyone's stunned. Like, there's 3 people just sitting there. The dunk's about to come in. I don't understand how it didn't get people. I just missed it. I just don't understand.
Okay,
you see here, there it is. Everyone's stunned. Who doesn't? How that? What? How did they get blocked?
Charged.
Was it not charged enough? It must not have been charged enough.
No, it wasn't charged enough. Yeah, everyone was stunned.
Oh,
so
man.
it didn't get fed.
Oh, man. If that had simply just charged a little bit longer, that's the point, ZP. That's the point. The Eye of Agamotto plus Meteor, that would have cleaned it all up. Just such an unfortunate moment there for Shikigami just to not have the charge on the Meteor M.
I mean, normally you got Magneto shooting basketballs, but that was more like a pool ball. Did very little damage in the end. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't get charged up. It just
Still hurts
shot
if
off.
you hit him in the nuts. Sorry, keep
That's
going.
true, Bucket. So true, Bucket.
It's not about the size of your ball. It's where you aim it. Words of wisdom from Bucket in 2025. But we're heading into it now. 100 Thieves. Even though they have a good-sized time bank, you're not guaranteed to get the first point in 3 minutes. And they have to get the first point and beyond, so the pressure is on.
And still, mirror across the board, no change in the old. Both teams wanted to play this Wolverine. See, early grab gonna have. Wait, he's taking him. I mean, he's definitely taking him, but he has the jump pack. I mean, they're kind of just stuck here on the rock right now, but it's opened up a lot of space. 100 Thieves can walk on in.
Saving Private Krasbang, able to walk back over, but does give up a lot of positioning. Terra bringing Groot on the long journey instead, brings Wolverine over and over, but Wolverine with the passive, able to stay alive, and Daze actually punishes Delina right after. First 2 picks for Shikigami. Can be send the Thieves back to the drawing board.
I mean, there's another way to say it. If I'm Delina, I'm pissed. If I'm Delina, I'm pissed. You get the pin, the last stand, or not the last stand, but that regenerative healing factor activates for Daze, so gives that bonus health, and he just zooms away with the rocket jump back and takes Delina, like literally like ET style, like over the moon. I would be pissed if I'm Delina. I'm not gonna lie. So now 100 Thieves, they have to recontest, and that's a minute off the board.
I mean, it's a minute off the board, and remember, they have to do way more than the first point. 100 Thieves getting tested in all ways right now. Shikigami have to be feeling themselves. Ultimate's coming online. Gotta be looking to Ricky for the invisible boundary here early. Genji on to the Meteor M. As it's on 100 Thieves to make a move. Shikigami, they can hold back a little bit here. They got point to play with. They don't have to worry about too much. And now Meteor M in from Scar Genji. Looking. This one is going to be charged. And it's going to hit a whole lot of nothing. Taken down the back by Vinny. 100 Thieves up 1. Terra, last stand. Dive into the back line. Not getting a whole lot as a result. Meanwhile, Madian dropping Kraken Impact. Shikigami trying to burn their ult. But guess what? Delina's here. Kraken Impact with 2. And that should be what the Thieves need to get this first point.
And for those of the viewers at home that are wondering what just happened, well, the ults got traded, and essentially, luckily for her, not really luckily, but well played for 100 Thieves, Delina just saved the Kraken Impact. All the ults went out. They traded out all the cooldowns. There was nothing to keep anyone else alive at that point, so Delina just had the better ult leapfrog there. Able to pop the Kraken Impact late. What's the problem?
For 100 Thieves.
Let me know.
The problem for 100 Thieves is that if they lose one fight here, it's still over. They have to win at least 2 to 3 fights. Shikigami only needs to win 1. And now you take a look at who could be the one setting it up. Krasbang, we've sung his praises all night. The prison is about to be good to go. Daze ready with the last stand. The walls being traded out here early. The field of battle is set. Last stand in here from Daze. Booty grab, he got Delina early. And Krasbang still has yet to been using the prison. We are in overtime.
Harvey used ult.
They're looking for it. Yeah, they're going to use the cloak ult. It's going to buy time to get back up to a full 6. It will force Shikigami back. But all the while, Krasbang is able to hold on to the strangling prison, waiting, but they get 2! Dinks and Daze both down. As Krasbang, do you hold or not? TTK dropping the Meteor M over. 100 Thieves solidifying their spot here on the convoy in overtime. And Shikigami, they might want to reset here at best.
Wait, still can they get any more ults? I mean, actually, that they can touch. They can touch. There's still some time. They luckily getting that out. Getting the strangling prison out means there's still a chance for Shikigami to make it back here. They do have the combo. They have the combo. SJP does hold on to the Eternal Bond, but they could burst through it.
They need the touch.
They have
portal. They need to get in here. They need a touch. They just barely get in. Wolverine giving his life. Daze has bought some time. Krasbang coming on in. Has the prison ready to go. Drops the prison. Is the fall through going to be there? The cloak ult keeping most of the Thieves alive, but at the same point, the Meteor M from Genji takes down one. Amadian with another. Shikigami now at the edge, keeping 100 Thieves away from the convoy. They might just get them off entirely here into this point. Amadian moving up forward. Are the 100 Thieves about to go down 2 or 1 map? to Shikigami. It's looking like it may be the case. They just need a little bit more cleanup. Vinny is down, and 100 Thieves pushed off right at the goal. Shikigami takes the series lead 2-1. No one saw this coming.
I mean, you look at that offense and you're like, wow, 100 Thieves, they have the momentum. But just having to invest that extra committal from Shikigami, forcing the Strangling Prison out, that's one less ult off the board. And honestly, Ricky gets the screen MVP here. And I really do have to say that Ricky, especially for that last Riki test, making sure to use the cloak, to use that shift, to keep everyone up off the Kraken impact that comes out from Delena. I mean, huge. Keeps them in the fight. They had to sacrifice the Wolverine. They had to obviously sacrifice Daze for the touch, but it was worth it because they get to come back in with their ults. They get to survive the Kraken impact in return that comes up from Delena. Shikigami playing scrappy, extremely scrappy down the defense, and it pays off.
Big plays by Dinks as well. The Loki copping the cloak. So many support ultimates, so many duelist Vanguard ultimates at the end. A sloppy game. Shikigami steals 100 Thieves map pick. So now we're looking at potentially a new champion. If Shikigami wins one more map, we're done. They're walking away with $1,000 here, ZP.
Yeah, and again, this is why you play the games, right? This is why you tune in every Thursday, because no matter what the lineup is, you don't know what's going to happen. And this has been the surprise of surprises where, you know, Shikigami, they're a good team. They've been around for a while, and that's why we're like, okay, yeah, we'll get them in this week. And man, have they surprised and surpassed expectations here so far with just some great gameplay across the board.
A vast turn.
Okay, I thought Fuck was gonna jump in there. I thought he'd be jumping in there, but yeah, I mean, ZP definitely right there. Love what I'm seeing. I mean, this map in particular, this Hall of the Jolly, just insanity. There was just huge fights. You saw like what potentially was a game losing moment there, where the Meteor just not charging up for Scatter Genji. You got to see Wolverine come out a lot. You got to see just incredible amounts of plays coming up there. People getting inducted left and right. Scrappy is the term I would use to describe this map, this match so far, and Shikigami definitely a surprise. I agree with that. They've always looked pretty good. As oh god, the Meteor.
Woo, missed that one live. Sorry, Scatter Genji. Shikigami looks like the real deal, guys. They are going toe-to-toe with Terra on the front line. The Madian doing his work. You saw fantastic plays by Daze also on the Winter Soldier, so they have the same flexibility that you're seeing from 100 Thieves. And Delena, as long as you're banning his Hela, I feel like he's having an impact, but I don't know if he's going to be able to steal an MVP honor tonight.
You know, the interesting thing. The interesting thing too, you think about who banned the Hela is 100 Thieves banning the Hela in this case, where they decide, no, we don't want to deal with it. And man, oh man, if you're 100 Thieves, this is where you are out of mulligans from this point forward. You need to run your absolute best strategies. And also at some point, you gotta give some respect to Shikigami and what they're good at. The one thing that has been tried all series long that I want to see 400 Thieves as they look to stay alive in our next map coming up after the break.
You're getting rid of Groot, aren't you?
Yeah, you gotta get rid of Groot. You
Don't
can't
do it,
press
Z.
that and get away with it.
So many roots, so many boots. At some point, there is an ET taking someone into the sky. I missed the clip, but I can't wait for the replay. Avast. That was poetry in motion, my guy. Here we go. Game number 4. A moment or two away. Are we going to a break, ZP?
We are.
Should
we are 100% calling
do we
for it.
have
There is a
to?
break. Talk to Solomon, I think, on that one, but I do think the break has been called by production. It is map 3, so
He is a human for now. Shout out to our producer Solomon, all of our amazing replay ops, and everyone behind the scenes. This is Rivals Fight Night, the community operated, community loved, and player dominated broadcast. Scatter Genji with one to the dome, baby. Hold this. Somebody wake up Nade Shot. Tell him his boys are slipping. Shikigami. Tripping up the Groots. Giving them the boots. Vinny and crew. Ain't
I
done
didn't even
yet.
see that.
Welcome back. It's a vast ZP. Puck it on the mic and hold this, Terra says. They're not done. They're returning champs for a reason, but their backs are up against the wall. Avast, what did we just witness?
I saw that it happened on the previous map of like they were chasing out Daze and I'm like, okay, like he's gonna ult and he used it. I didn't notice that the ult hit the pillar and he got caught there. So I couldn't control my burst out. So I'm so sorry there, Puckett. I ruined the whole flow.
No, you're good. I also meant though in map 3 because now Shikigami is up a map. They're on match point here.
Yeah, I mean overall, ZP talked about it. It's a surprise, right? This is definitely a surprise. Shikigami's been a team that's floated around, always pretty good, been in and out of tournaments, hasn't quite found their like footing, hasn't been really in those like spotlights yet. And this roster seems like it's really gelling here. However, ironically enough, this is right before the meta shifts. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Shikigami post today. But as of right now, in this moment, they're looking fantastic.
They are one map away from $1,000, but ZP, this is a very special request from a fan of 100 Thieves all the way from Lebanon. His name is Jamil, and he asks, can you give Luna a kiss for me?
Was that really a request? Like, where that was at?
That's a good request.
I
like that one.
I feel like was his alter ego
peck.
Chris Puckett?
Just a little peck. Just a little peck. A Z-pack.
Legitimately the request is all I know here. But
I had him in the first half, chat. All right. Midtown is our map. What does that mean? We're going to be pushing the cart. Hellas could pop off. You could also see a whole lot of cracking impacts. It's all going to come down to the ban and protect of what is our strategy. I don't think we're going to see triple Vanguard. Don't think that's in the mix right now. Going to need a little bit more DPS.
yeah, immediately
not, especially because they've been banning Adam Warlock as we saw there.
Yeah, and here's the thing: you don't change anything up right now if you're Shikigami. You just continue, you protect your Groot if it's not first banned, which, by the way, 100 Thieves should have banned the Groot. I do not agree with banning the Adam Warlock with what Krasmag has been doing to them all series long. Okay, they're going to protect Invisible Woman now, so they're changing around to protect. Last round, they protected the Loki. Now they're just going, no, we want normal, good Strategist ults. No, you're not getting rid of our boundary.
Yeah, if you get rid of Luna, we need at least one counter to all the ultimates. So that's why you see Invisible Woman in the mix. On the other side for 100 Thieves, what do they not want to play against Avast? What's been most dangerous for Shikigami?
Could get rid of a Wolverine. Okay, they're going to get rid of Namor. Interesting they get rid of Namor with Luna already banned. But I mean, at least Wolverine's still on the table. But Invisible Woman, having Invisible Woman on the cards, a little bit stronger into the, at least survivability-wise, into the Wolverine, and Loki's banned. So that gives what? We got Invisible Woman, we have Cloak and Dagger, we have Venom behind ZP. Like, everything's looking pretty good.
I think it does reduce the value of the Winter Soldier as well. You're not going to get those free agains coming down from the sky here, ZP. So give me a breakdown. We have Midtown loading up. No Lokis. What is going to be the ideal comp? And will we see a Venom for the first time in this match?
I don't know if we're seeing a Venom. I think for 100 Thieves, I think when your back is against the wall, you got to go with what you are best at. I think you got to go, okay, we're winning and losing this with Delina on the Hela, one way or another. I think that's maybe part of why you went to Midtown, because that has been just one of the absolute masterclass maps that 100 Thieves has been able to run with the Hela. And sure enough, while you can't always trust the spawn hero selection, I think this one is pretty much for real. 100 Thieves coming out with a comp here, Vast, that to me looks to be more or less their bread and butter.
The triple tank? Shikigami getting thick and meaty?
Very possible. I mean, I think this is especially because when you're on the defense first here, you hold that corner in one of those pocket rooms, you use the cover, and you just cycle contest the card here, right? So, I mean, they're there, they're close, they're definitely just going to be playing very aggressively, like letting all their health just sit here on the point, make it really hard for 100 Thieves to get out, and most importantly, deny Delina the angles to try to find a squishy.
Is it worth switching right now to a Wolverine is the question. ZP, I'll let you take it away on the play-by-play.
Well, they're moving on in. Right now, I don't think Wolverine is in the cards. I think for 100 Thieves, you go Delina, pick him off. You get one already on the Scatter Genji. You're looking good right now. Your attack right now gets a little bit of momentum now. You focus down the Groot. You get Krasmang out. And it's a methodical surgery right now taking place for 100 Thieves.
And what really the win condition was there for 100 Thieves, and the thing that Shikigami really needed to kind of deny was Delina getting a pick. You really just don't, like, the Hela is the difference maker there typically for this composition. It's going to be the majority of the damage. You have to be worried about the burst, and a portal here for Scatter Genji. Looking like they just want to come directly here onto the point. Coming out, there goes the Cape of Terror, and they find Vinny right off the burst.
I think he got force physics into the portal. Maybe I was seeing things, but either way, he just got absolutely erased. Is what happened there. So now Shikigami back on to the point. Harvey, though, meanwhile, finding days. Krasmang, in turn, punishing Harvey for it. Terra, cracking impact out. Looking. Harvey back into the fray. 100 Thieves trying to keep the momentum of their attack going. Visual boundary from Ricky, though, slowing things down a little bit now. See if Delina can find this pick. Has one in his sights, not quite able to finish here just as Vinny moves on in. Is the fault they're going to be there. They get down Krasmang, and again, bit by bit, 100 Thieves getting progress here on the point. Meteor M might be the way. They get some real progress off to the side, and all 100 Thieves from here.
I mean, a long first hold there. Like, that's 2 minutes off the clock. Look at all the ults that had to get used for 100 Thieves. Now Shikigami going to make the swaps because you're not here on these tight corners anymore. You don't need this triple Vanguard. 100 Thieves comp, very strong. See, quick little replay. Let's see. Is Vinny getting stuck to the portal?
I think he got force physics.
No, wait, he fell in, he walked into the portal.
Did he actually just walk
He walked into the portal because they opened in front of him and he just walked on in.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I mean, unfortunate, very unfortunate there for 100 Thieves is now Shikigami. I mean, look at this. They've made the swaps. They're going to have the Kraken impact, and 100 Thieves potentially going to have to invest some more ults here, but the bank's still pretty strong.
I'll say this, if a tree falls outside the forest, it does make a sound, which is Vinny's body hitting the floor, as it turns out. But here we go, 100 Thieves, trying to keep the momentum of this offense going. Invisible boundary going to be dropped to solidify around the convoy. They take down Krasmang, Terra, Kraken impact, over, easy, done. should be 0.1 to the Thieves, who recovered quite nicely after Vinny's excellent adventure through the portal. And Terrors just keep going.
Yeah, the staggers are brutal. I do love the reference. Vinny's excellent adventure. Love that one. I don't know if you're making it Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure reference, Bradford. If you want.
No, it is in there. It is in there, you know.
Okay, fantastic. So 100 Thieves continue their momentum going forward. They are going to have the Strangling Prison still. They are going to have potentially a Meteor to combo. Shikigami now, though, finally getting some ults up. About to have 6 ults, really. And they really want to stop them here. They don't want to have... I mean, to be fair, I have multiple points here. The second for Midtown. Very strong for the defenders. So they have a lot of options. Keep an eye on Delana, though, who's going to be looking to take a flank. Try to find a pick very, very early. Because Shikigami, especially knowing that 100 Thieves should know that their ult bank is not nearly as strong. They really want to make something happen in the neutral.
I mean, the ult bank right now is filthy from Shikigami in this next fight. 100 Thieves, they have to hope for something in the neutral before the investment pays off. Krasbang right now on the convoy. Again, focused down heavily, drops Strangling Prison. Krasbang gonna stay up alive. Meanwhile, Scar Genji, Meteor M on both sides. Gonna get dropped on down. Visible Boundary now used. CYA also used. Shikigami emptying the bank just for this fight. They get Vinny down so far, but 100 Thieves, it's a really nice disengage, and now the counter re-engage in from Vinny, drops the prison, sets up Terra for the 3-piece, as Terra goes for more. The resets come into play, and that was a great disengage, re-engage in from 100 Thieves.
Clinical, absolutely clinical here. Terra looking for more, trying to find Daze, taking the duel. So the support's gonna be there. They might be able to find Daze. He's not gonna, yeah, it is gonna go down. The portal is gonna be there, but there's nothing to make here for Shikigami. No, they can't, but there's no damage. They don't have Daze, they don't have any ults. They could definitely go for this recontest, but it would be very unlikely for this to happen. It's just gonna be more delay here, especially with Thieves having ults in the bank. This should just be a slow loss, and that's exactly what it's gonna be. Just give me a little ult charge, if anything.
What if it's a fast loss instead?
I mean, yeah, relatively fast too, I guess.
Yeah, the speed actually set to max, as it turns out there, as 100 Thieves roll through second point. 3 minutes to spare. This was the map pick for 100 Thieves, and kind of seeing why with their history on the map and their execution here thus far.
Now Shikigami coming on in. They're getting close to the Strangling Prison. Nothing else on the board here. 100 Thieves, they have strategist ults available. I mean, this is just a really good push. The ult economy has been consistently good for 100 Thieves. They've been winning without having to overinvest. They've had great disengages. It just hasn't been any... There's really been nothing happening for Shikigami outside of first, outside of a really good delay there. This really needs to be a fight where they ideally turn it around.
All right, Shikigami looking for any ray of light to pierce the thunderstorm that has been over them without Storm even being played. 100 Thieves, their bank looking meaty, looking rich. This fight may dictate the course of the rest of the fight, and Krasbang already down. Invisible Boundary dropped by Ricky was not enough time to save. And Terra again, the clean up unstoppable. It's just been a crack and rush every single time. The impact profound.
And yes, they did use the combo, Strangling Prison, Crack and Impact, cleans up. But the problem there is, okay, Shikigami, their bank's good. 100 Thieves still have very good ults, and most importantly, now 100 Thieves can take angles. They can set up Delana to be aggressive. They have the Gods of Death, so he can be a little bit over-aggressive even. They can just try to pick, try to peek, and ready, ults invested.
Invisible Boundary, though, down immediately in response to Strangling Prison. Scatter Genji, though, doesn't care about the boundary. Drops 2. However, Delana, Goddess of Death, right position into the back, pummeling Shikigami from behind right now. Getting real close to another support pick, looking for Rocket in the back. Dink's just barely able to avoid. 100 Thieves, though, off the Goddess of Death, able to stay in on the fight. Krasbang, though, chases down that pesky Hela, gets her out of the fight. Gives Shikigami a new lease on life as they come back out of spawn.
And now, they don't have a lot of damage. They're going to commit the Strangling Prison, hoping to get more, but they are going to have the Invisible Boundary. 100 Thieves, I'm going to be honest, I look at that, and I say, I don't know if it was worth, but maybe 100 Thieves just looking to go into the next fight, knowing that, okay, remove the Invisible Boundary. We did it down a player too, right? Delana was not there. Our primary damage was not there. So that means that we're in a pretty good spot. Remove that Invisible Boundary. So what do we look at next? Okay, 100 Thieves probably going to round the corner, drop a CYA, maybe look to set up the Crack and Impact. So for Shikigami knowing this, what do they have in the bank comparatively? A Strangling Prison. So you're going to have to watch all these ults trade out here. I don't know if that's going to be worth it just using that Strangling Prison late, as though Delana finding a Madian.
That's what you need out of your Hela when your back is against the wall. You need that level of difference. Madian is brought back up by the BRB, but Terra, Crack and Impact, already with 2, no Strangling Prison required. Terra does it again and again. Visible Boundary dropped towards the end, and that is enough to finish with even a little bit of time remaining.
It was worth, by the way. It was worth Vinny dropping the Strangling Prison just to get rid of the invisible boundary while down a player for 100 Thieves. That was worth. I mean, it was a free crack and impact rounding that fight using the CYA as well. Just make sure that damage comes out. Taking max usage of the culling effect for the instant limbs. And 100 Thieves, I mean, a very strong map pick, a very strong offense for them. They looked great on this composition. And this is something that, you know, typically for when you look at 100 Thieves and define them as a team, they always look often their best when you have Delina on this Hela, just able to make continuous space, setting up the damage, letting Vinny and Terra combine, letting Terra just get consistent value from those ults. And you saw it the entire offense.
Yeah, I mean, this was peak 100 Thieves. It's what they're known for, and it's what they're good at. And we saw why. And, you know, to me, you know, people might have doubted at first, wondering, will Shikigami be able to do it? But, you know, the one who called in the beginning was Puckett, where we were just one map in. I think Puckett said, I think this one is going to 5. And now I could say at this point, I absolutely concur. I think 100 Thieves is in a great spot to force a final map 5 in our money match.
It's a good thing I only need one arm to take.
And finishing with time on the bank tier 2 for 100 Thieves, especially for a map like this on Midtown, that's always a win. Finishing with time and left in the bank is a big win. And you see here, I mean, just look at the Olymps. Look at the Olymps difference. I mean, that's a strong offense. The fact that the bank isn't even that strong for 100 Thieves, despite that elimination difference overall, it just goes to show that Midtown's a hard map to cap. And also credit to Shikigami for the really strong first defense.
Okay, Shikigami. We'll see what their attack has in store. It might be a little bit stormy. A Madian onto the storm this time around. But can you get out of the spawn door cleanly? 100 Thieves making them pay for every inch of territory that they want to get. But at the same point, they're able to take down 2 right away. Vinny does come back up the BRB. Terra punishing on the Krasmang. Bit of a brawl to kick things off here. But it is Shikigami getting out of the spawn doors. Madian getting room to work with here on the storm. And this aggressive push by 100 Thieves does not quite work out.
No, definitely not getting a ton of value. And Scatter Genji. Look at this. Portal. Coming out already. Where is it going? Where are they putting it? They put it on the doors? Was that a double spawn door portal? I think it might have been. Or at the very least, it delayed them.
They look spread out. It does not look... I think the portal had to have done something.
Had to have done something. They could have even canceled it, perhaps. They might have even been a cancel, perhaps, just to, like, just pressure. So, Shikigami here continuing on forward. They do have a last stand very early. There's no strategy ults here available, especially when you combine it with that Cape of Terror for Ricky, or rather for Dinks, so they can just insta-burst someone down. This is a very strong position to be in for Shikigami.
All right. Early pull coming on in. Shikigami. They have the prison here from Krasmay. He's done it so many times here before. Terra, though, getting hit by the prison. Is the fault going to be here for Shikigami? They're looking for any picks.
Oh, it's out fighting for the boundary.
Over there, Days making it a combo. Ends up with 3. Too much damage for the Thieves to survive. First point to Shikigami.
And also, they might get a late pick onto Terra. They know Terra's here. Oh, he's in the corner. Help. Help. He's going to go for the Kraken Impact. I mean, yeah. I mean, Terra looks like, okay, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not totally certain what the thought was there. Maybe just for a fast reset, I don't know. But overall, let's ignore that play. Let's go to the play that mattered, which is Crazy Ang hits the Strangling Prison. They force out Harvey's invisible boundary, and Daze uses the last stand to take everyone outside of that boundary. So they don't get the healing, they don't get the benefit of that strategy ult, and they pick them off. So great combo there for Shikigami. They continue forward, 3 ults here in the bank, 50% to another Strangling Prison. 100 Thieves, though, this is probably their time. They have a pretty strong bank. This is a pretty, strong defensive point.
You know what'd be good with the Strangling Prison coming up from Vinny? A Kraken Impact that just got thrown away. Look, Delina might be down. Delina get caught! Genji protecting the flank on Hela duty. And yeah, Delina's back up from BRB, but the threat of the flank gone. Strangling Prison done from Vinny, but Shikigami able to withstand. Ricky, invisible boundary was just in the nick of time. It's Scatter Genji. He's ready to play a little bit of basketball right now. Meteor M ready to go up over the top. Is it going to land anything? He's got some time. No, but it does force 100 Thieves back. It gains more positioning here for Shikigami. They might just get this outright. 100 Thieves does not touch the convoy, and got us to death for a Madian. Should secure the deal. Meteor M late into the progress, not going to save the deal here for the Thieves. Second point, going to go the way of Shikigami.
and giving flowers here to Scatter Genji, who has looked really good on Magneto throughout the whole series, but right there gets that early pick on Delina, forces the BRB, removes the BRB and the threat from Delina on the flank. Additionally, walks forward because that hook onto Daze drops the Meteor M, because Meteor M, you know, absorbs damage. It almost works as like a defensive ult at times. So it keeps Daze alive so they can follow up on Crazy Mang's Strangling Prison. So that was really well played from Scatter Genji there, and the value of Magneto, just really good Magneto players. Is some aggressive poking coming out again there for the Wolverine.
We got some Shrouds being chased or traded out here from the Cloaks. And 100 Thieves now need to buy some time. Shikigami is setting a blistering pace here on Midtown Days. Last stand ready. Gets a little bit of terrain in the
I mean, the geometry is just, I mean, like, get this out of my face.
Well, he does not quite get the grab afterwards. Meanwhile, Delina finds a Madian. Even the world is on 100 Thieves' side right now, Vast. How else can you describe it?
The domain expansion for 100 Thieves. It's just so sad. So now, Shikigami should be fighting here on the point. Strength Prison gets used, but they're all within the invisible boundary. I think the calling effect there's the Kraken impact. It should be enough to clean it up.
Yeah, Terra not missing those. And this is actually so incredibly important for 100 Thieves. They needed to find stability here on this defense. I mean, they were getting speed ran by Shikigami at this point, and now they can get set up, they can get better defensive positioning, and they've put the ult economy even in a better spot too.
They have, but what do my eyes see there, ZP? I see a Crazy Man, Strangling Prison. I see a Daze, Last Stand. Do they just do it again? The Strangling Prison, then yoink him on out of the boundary when Harvey pops it? They could. A lot of pressure on TTK here to save the bubbles, to save the bulwarks here into the Wolverine, because you use those, you can definitely mitigate a lot of damage.
We'll see. Krezmang sitting here with the prison. 100 Thieves given plenty of room. 2.5 minutes still left on this attack where 100 Thieves needs to buy more time. We'll see how this one goes. TTK holding on to the Meteor M. Holding in the front. The Strangling Prison finally used, and here comes Meteor M in return from TTK. In response, Harvey, though, already down. Harvey, though, brought back up by the BRB. 100 Thieves still in a good spot. Vinny hanging on to the prison of his own. Daze is down. The boundary now going to get dropped here by Ricky. Shikigami tries to make something happen, and Ricky actually gets two immediately after the boundary. Shikigami staying in this fight. Off the strategist play here of Ricky. Delina, though, coming on in, has something else to say about it. Goddess of Death over and in. Drops it, but the Meteor M is out in response. Scatter Genji ruining his day. Is anyone going to go down to the Meteor M? Not quite. 100 Thieves now. Spawn advantage coming back into play. Infinite Grit now in from Terra. Kraken impact good to go. Looking for any targets. Needs to get a reset. Yeah, he doesn't get anything off it. It's just slightly off. The elevation messing with him. TTK about to go down. The invisible boundary though from Harvey. Just in the nick of time.
Crazy Bang close, very close to a Strangling Prison. Madian gonna go down, but it's still very winnable. You see, Last Stand in the back, put so much pressure. Now they can go for the Strangling Prison. They can walk forward. They gotta get one. They do. They find one. There's a chance here for Shikigami. They're so close.
They're so close yet so far. Spawn's coming back in right now for Shikigami. Infinite Grit dealing tons of damage here from Terra. They're going to drop the cloak ult. They sense blood in the water, but 100 Thieves there nearly fully resecured. Vinny nearly has a Strangling Prison. The Meteor M good to go. Terra lets one rip, takes down Daze. And 100 Thieves, they might be stopping this here now. Only 1 minute left here for Shikigami. And Avast, I think you got to go for the reset.
Oh, God. I mean, amazing recontest for 100 Thieves. Really, really good recontest. They stay alive. They stay up. And even with the Last Stand getting invested, it just wasn't enough. They didn't find enough. They lost those picks. The Strangling Present for Crazy Man comes up, and everyone stays alive. 100 Thieves make it back. And most importantly for 100 Thieves, they did that in a mostly neutral fight. Look at the ult bank. That's 4 ults available here. And this is last fight.
Well, I mean, a thing that could be dangerous, though, is that they can open with Boundary, not lose anyone, and hope a Madian's dance gets something done. The strategist ult's being drained is a little bit difficult right now for the Thieves. Here we go. Delina over. In on the Wolverine. Dashes on and crushes. Dinks is down. Terra following up to that. Only 15 seconds left. Shikigami have to burn whatever bank they have. The Boundary comes in, but it's after 2 are down. Krasbang, meanwhile, takes down Delina, trying to find any room for Shikigami to stay alive here, but the Thieves defense looking way better here so far. Harvey has the invisible boundary, good to go. 1 second left remaining. You can drop it here in overtime and send Shikigami off to a map 5.
They have combo. Crazy Ming has Strangling Prison. They have a Meteor M. There's a chance.
They group. They Meteor M. Is it going to do enough this time? The boundary is down. It still gets 2. Hold the phone. Shikigami wanting to keep this one going. Scatter Genji with another. The Thieves are falling one by one. They actually cannot hold. We are going to extra rounds here on Midtown. Unbelievable.
Cinema. I mean, literally Martin Scorsese.png cinema. I mean, this is that Crazy Man again. The Vanguard line again from Shikigami saves them, absolutely saves them. And I give credit again to Ricky. Ricky gets the invisible boundary, keeps him in the fight long enough so Crazy Man can get those cooldowns up and just continually wall himself. Get those cooldowns up, build towards the Strangling Prison, and wait for Scatter Genji to make it back to drop the combo. He's so survivable, and it's the power of the Groot again and again and again to just stay anchored on the point. And of course, a lot of help from Ricky, a lot of help from Dinks there to stay alive long enough for the players to make it back. But the Shikigami Vanguard pulled out, they just pulled out a miracle play, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that should not happen. With the bank 100 Thieves had going into that, they had every advantage. I mean, the only thing they didn't have was the boundary right away. They still even got it in the end. And now, I mean, a 23-second advantage, it's basically nothing right now. We are back to even as we go to the attack once more. At stake for Shikigami, not only becoming the new Rivals Fight Night champions, but the prestige of taking down 100 Thieves, the spot of being defending champion for next week, in a realm where no one expected this to happen at the start of the day.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. 1 minute versus 1 minute 23, so not a huge bank difference here, especially in sort of these sort of scenarios where you're looking at like sometimes just one push. A little early team up just to get some of the cleave there for the Magneto. Scatter Genji going to the high ground, gonna go fight this early, and this is what Shikigami need. They need to make sure to remove 100 Thieves early off these strong power positions. And oh my gosh,
Terra has been erased from this universe and immediately brought back because it's the multiverse, but still.
But that's fine. You get the position, you get the BRB out, right? That's great.
Yeah. No, it's still a really good early pick, even with some of it being nullified, as Vinny right now under the gun, nearly getting poked down. 100 Thieves looking shaken right now on this defense. The Shikigami, they can sense perhaps a championship at play right now, but TTK's down! Amadian finishes him off! And 100 Thieves down one. 5 seconds left to go. An overtime push seeming imminent at this point now, Avast, as Vinny falls.
Oh, what a force physics too. Had the force physics, had the vulnerability there from Dinks and Ricky to make sure to get that pick on Vinny. So now Shikigami, I mean, they're getting first. Their ult bank's gonna be great. 100 Thieves making the swap. I mean, TTK just making the swap, maybe thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go Stranged for a portal, but instead just gonna go back to the Magneto. So that is best case scenario here for Shikigami. Win first decisively, don't have to use any ults. They have it here for second.
How long can they keep this going? 100 Thieves under pressure. Amadian finds Terra. 6 on 5 now for Shikigami, keeping the pressure up on 100 Thieves. Selena, though, counter pressure in, gets the angle on the Amadian, looking for more. Harvey, invisible boundary now fading. Terra coming back into the fray, has the Kraken impact good to go. One good Kraken impact can stop this overtime push in its tracks. Crazebang, though, takes down Terra. There's no Kraken impact story this time around. The stagger too real as Shikigami keeps 100 Thieves off balance.
Look at Delena here, ZB. He's so far behind them. Delena is light years away. Shikigami, they could theoretically just walk into them right now. They know Delena's not there. They could also just go for the isolation. So fight happening. They have a lot of ults still in the bank.
Well, here we go. Strangling Prisons are dropped. TTK, meanwhile, dropping the Meteor M. Not on target at all. Terra, meanwhile, down, caught, last stand versus last stand, Days over and Amadian takes down Delena, who is off on the flank, and Shikigami, they're keeping it going. It's overtime, it's not stopping, they're getting the second point, and this just keeps on going.
They still have Goddess of Death as well. 100 Thieves about to have some great ults coming up on the board. I mean, 3 ults here. Very strong ults with nothing on the strategist line here for Shikigami. But if Shikigami make an aggressive play, if they get a stagger, if they find someone maybe with the Goddess of Death or just a pick from a Amadian in general, or even just the, finding the leap from Days, there's a chance they can just get the pick and keep the momentum going. There's the leap. They're going to try to go over the wall. They don't hit anyone with the vulnerability, though.
Delena takes down Scatter Genji, arguably one of the most important picks they could have. Sets up the 6v5. It is not brought back in any way. There's no rocket on the other side. Delena now gets hit. Drops the Goddess of Death. Looking for his counterpart. Forces out another Goddess of Death. in turn. Meanwhile, Terra dropping last stand deep into the line, takes down Krasmag. Not done yet, gets on the dinks, slashing, over in on the convoy. 100 Thieves finally gonna put an end to this push, but the damage of Avast may have been too severe.
For a minute, that is, an insane push. An insane push for a minute there. And even towards the end, you see Shikigami trying to make the most of it with Amadian going for that flank, trying to make something happen with the Goddess of Death. Shikigami are in the zone. They're in the zone. That was some incredibly good plays here. And 100 Thieves, what was looking like a potential coast into a map 5 on Midtown, now they're fighting. They're up against the, they're pretty much, they're in round, how many rounds are on boxing, They rang the bell, they're sitting down talking to coach, I'm beat up.
We're getting word from production, I have a replay on it, that we didn't see it quite as it came out, or as split second, but that one Meteor M from TTK might have actually eaten the prison coming on in from Krasmag.
Oh, really?
So,
that can't happen.
The Meteor was off target for hitting anyone, but it had very on target in protection.
I mean, there's so much happening. There's been a lot that's gone on in terms of just the interactions with the Strangling Prisons in particular, because you have to remember, it's a projectile, right? We saw Crazy Man, earlier in the day, block a Strangling Prison with a wall. You can do things like that where, because it's a projectile, there's a lot of options for potential counterplay. It's not just an instant cast. So, Shikigami gonna be holding close again, and guess what I see here, ZP? Triple Vanguard. They want to do the wall of meat yet again in the spawn.
And why not? They just need to buy time. 100 Thieves. No matter what, this will have to be an overtime push to get map 5 to defend their spot here in Rivals Fight Night. Shikigami has forced them to the brink. Can 100 Thieves respond and keep this alive? They have 1 minute to show what they have to get into a good position in the overtime. For now, right now, Terra trying to cut up that meat. Gets Scatter Genji off to the side, slashes on through. Decent start here for 100 Thieves, but they lose Terra right after. This is a lot of stall right now, Avast, even if Shikigami loses the fight.
However, Delana feasted. Delana went to the back, got a strategist. Sure, the fight is still ongoing, but because Delana does make sure to go for the wrap there in that fight while everyone's looking forward there for Shikigami, it opens it up. Because that's how you remove that triple Vanguard comp, is you remove a strategist. If you can remove a strategist, then it all falls apart. You just don't have enough healing for all those tanks, for all those Vanguards that are soaking damage. And now Shikigami just going to make the swap. They're going to move back Amadian to the Hela again, still opening pretty solid. And that's not a bad first fight. That's a lot of time off the bench.
If you're Shikigami, we're 100 Thieves, their tournament life is on the line. I feel like you try and bank ults here. You try and go for that one good fight. That's all you need. 100 Thieves, they have to be perfect from here on out to just force map 5, not even win the $1,000. But here we go. Terra looking for the setup, does not get the snatch right away, but instead dives on in and still makes it work. Crushes into the front line. 2 clean picks here from 100 Thieves. Exactly what they need to keep their hope alive.
And you're exactly right, ZP. That it needs to be clean. Shikigami can play for the perfect fight. They can wait for 100 Thieves to use a lot of ults and be like, okay, our bank's going to be stronger. This is our moment. We know how long we have to take to win this. We know exactly where our win condition is. So 100 Thieves have to make this clean, exceptionally clean. Getting picks in the neutral, not using ults, or using very minimal ults for a win.
Here we go. 100 Thieves looking to keep it going. Hope not yet gone. Shikigami, one team fight win away from the championship. Amadian would love to get a pick in neutral to get this going. Get some good damage here from the start, but now it's going to be Meteor M from TTK. What does he see on the other side? Goes for the dunk, does not kill down Scar on the other side. Krasmag, meanwhile, dropping the prison over and in. However, 100 Thieves, they just combine their ults far better. Terra slices them up on the point. Delina with the follow through. This convoy does not stop. Shikigami going to get at least one more attempt to try and stop it.
However, you see that fight. 100 Thieves committed a lot. That's 3 ults now for Shikigami. 1 for 100 Thieves. One of those being the Goddess of Death, which can all just be completely mitigated by Scatter Genji, right? Pops a Meteor M, eats the entire ult. This is scary. This is very scary here for 100 Thieves. The good news is they got the 2 strategy ults out for Shikigami. They removed the Strangling Prison as well. However, a lot of pressure early onto the Wolverine.
Scatter be the MVP. One
has to be careful.
more time. Looking for the damage in the neutral. Has the Meteor M in reserve. Meteor M up. Looking to play a little bit of B-ball. Daze takes down Viddy. Thieves down their front line. Both Vanguards for Thunder Thieves down. However, the BRB gets Vinny back into play. 100 Thieves still with options here. The try and stay alive. Madian nearly going on down. Terra slashing in onto the point. Delina low gets healed back up in time. Harvey at the heals, but it lets Vinny go down. Delina meanwhile takes down Madian. It's Shikigami forcing it off the point. They have done it. We have a new champion, Shikigami, defeating 100 Thieves here on Midtown. Unbelievable.
Shikigami, I mean, they played it perfectly. They hit the triple Vanguard for the first defense there, and they make sure to take a ton of time on the clock, build ults, force ults from 100 Thieves, and then they just play to waste ults from 100 Thieves until they make it to that final fight. They have the ult bank advantage. They force the chaos. They get the picks, and then it just breaks down, and Ricky hits a perfect vulnerability again onto the Wolverine to make sure the pressure stays on. Shikigami, the ult economy looked great. The picks looked great. This team, kind of a dark horse, looked incredible.
Dark
They
horse.
get better as the season goes on, ZP. The final champions of season 1, Shikigami, taking home 4 figures. We did not think there was a chance they were walking away with money at the start of this show. I'll be honest. We talked about it in the green room. We're like, all right, they have some strong pieces, but you're not expected to beat people like 100 Thieves, who are used to going to grand finals and have had so much success on this show. Avast, was it 100 Thieves playing with their food too early? What happened here?
You could maybe say that, but overall, you look at this, and like, yes, there was some experimentation, as there's some chaos happening in your background too, but I do think that there was some experimentation that definitely occurred, but overall, you know, you get to the end of the series, 100 Thieves, there was no joking. They were playing their very strong comps they had played previously into Shikigami, and Shikigami won. They looked better across their, not just mirroring the comp, but also playing some counter comps into that. So I don't think this was something that could be put up to a loss, because also guess what? 100 Thieves won a map with Iron Fist.
True.
So it's not just like experimentation loss in the series.
They opened it up with the Iron Fist. After that, 3 straight from Shikigami as they take Symbiotic Surface, Hall, and then Midtown, all which were, I guess the last 2, of course, which were 100 Thieves picks. So tough night for 100 Thieves after a tougher night against Sentinels earlier in the week. But I have good news if you're a 100 Thieves fan. Starting tomorrow, we have a brand new season, ZP.
That's right, and a brand new season means a team chock full of talent like 100 Thieves. They get a time to look at the new meta, revamp, retool, and come back in and show that they still got it. But, you know, it's been a tough 2 weeks for 100 Thieves, whether it be MRC or now Rivals Fight Night here. And in the end, I do think, this may sound like a little bit weird, but I do think it is a good thing then, where it's like, you get knocked a little bit, you have all the motivation in the world to come back up, as opposed to being one of those teams where it's like you win everything for a while and then you finally start losing and you fall off the face of the earth. I mean, this is a learning experience, and I do think 100 Thieves will come back stronger than ever, but you gotta give the flowers here to Shikigami, just defying all expectations and having incredible performances across their entire roster.
It's time to hand out our MVP. The crown tonight goes to Shikigami Scatter Genji. The Magneto consistent from map 1 to map number 9 on the evening. Let's take a look at some of the best highlights. This was one for me. Get out of here, Star-Lord. Says no with the head-on collision. Nice contact shot. Wasn't the head you were thinking about, was it, chat?
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. You got him there. I mean, this guy, we don't oftentimes, especially at the top level, see, you know, it's not the duelist dominated MVP game, you know, they're the flashiest often, but the Vanguard line for Shikigami in particular looked really, really good, and Scattered Genji, incredibly consistent value from the Meteors, made sure to have the bulwarks. They were also saving his team, hit extremely clutch shots, was denying the flanks. I mean, just the perfect pairing here to Crazy Bang. And overall, you could even say like, oh, maybe Crazy Bang could have potentially been MVP, but you look at just the Meteor value, the consistency of the value here, which is not an easy skill shot to hit, and Scatter Genji was incredible at it. So I mean, this is
already got an MVP earlier in the show,
true.
Right? So
that's also true.
Both Vanguards, the Vanguards, that front line, getting the job done for Shikigami. 100 Thieves, they've shown they have potential on almost every character in this game, ZP. But who gets to play Emma Frost moving forward?
Ooh, Emma Frost for Shikigami going forward. I gotta tell you, so long as you can have the Groot I think Krasmang, it's hard to replicate what Krasmang has been doing on the Groot, so I want to see what Sky Genji could do on the Emma Frost if that ends up being the case. But it's hard because you got an embarrassment of riches here, because I think both Groot and Magneto are still going to be really good in the season 2. You know, then you wonder, like, but what if you run 3 Vanguards? It is Marvel Rivals. You're not locked into 2-2-2. You know, who says, you know, it has to be just one or the other, right? It may be someone on the DPS coming on in and saying, you know what, I'll do my run as Emma Frost. We'll have to see. It's a whole new world in less than 12 hours.
Big shout out to my guy Lawyer, who said this was gonna be quick play for 100 Thieves. This was gonna be a steamroll. Nah, it's early in a new esport. Put some respect on some new names. Shikigami take home our crown tonight. They are your NA champions, and they will get the invite as returning champions next Thursday. Once again, we are live every 4 p.m. every Thursday. We're talking Eastern time. If you're in Europe, it's around 10 o'clock, unless you're like more east and not west. Not me. We're going to
They'll
break.
figure it out.
And by break, I mean the final break of the night. I thought we were done. Avast, final thoughts. Break it down for me.
Anything can happen. It's early on. You come in and you say there's favorites. You're like, oh, obviously, 100 Thieves never lose the Sentinels. 100 Thieves never lose again, lose to Shikigami. Doesn't mean 100 Thieves are dusted. Doesn't mean it's over for them as their dominant. ZP maybe even hit a really good point of, you know, you should have some hope, because there's a chance that if Virtus.pro ever starts to lose and they've never faced the, you know, defeat before, it's sometimes tough to come back from that. To really, you know, winning solves everything within a team. Losing is when you really decide how good is the team. How good is the team and their, you know, their resilience overall. So I think for 100 Thieves, you look how strong they've been, and you see a couple losses on the board here. Meta's about to change. Shouldn't be too worried. This team's really great.
No.
And it's just a question of how do they look heading into the new meta for season 2.
ZP, thoughts on the evening for all the 100 Thieves fans who are trying to find a way to cope right now? Any words of advice?
You got season 2 happening. Season 1 is in the past. It is over in less than a day. You look forward to season 2. Tune in next week for all the action that's going to be coming on your way. We're going to see the new metas in the next patch. We're going to see how teams use or don't use Emma Frost. Whatever it may be, the new team ups. We'll have Gamma Monstros, for God's sakes. It is going to be a party.
Laser beams.
And also with their dominance, we will be inviting 100 Thieves back. We'll see if they accept, but they'll get a chance to run it back next week if they want. So if you're 100 Thieves fan, definitely look into that. But other than that, I'm just excited for what the future brings starting tomorrow.
All right, Hastro, if you're listening to this, I need to see Envy on my show. I need to see Sentinels back on this show. 100 Thieves is going to have their hands full. Same with Shikigami, our champions from tonight. On behalf of everyone behind the scenes, thank you so much for tuning in. Uber, Jake, fantastic cast from earlier in the day. If you missed that, we're live on YouTube. Well, we were live, but you can catch the VODs now because they're like video version of what we did earlier in the day, just like Rajaro and friends.